We're back for the second session on the second weekend of the Irish Life Health Track and Field Championships for 2020, and we're on the first lap of the women's 5,000 metre walk. And before we get into this race, we'll give you the full lineup. Maeve O'Connor from Waterford AC, Eva Della Hunt of Sligo, Kate Field, the defending champion of West Waterford, Sinead McConnell of Finn Valley, Ruth Monaghan of Sligo AC, Maggie Helen O'Connor of St. Joseph's, Sarah Glennon of Mullingar, and Maria Flynn of Naas AC.
Yeah, and all the field bunched together here in this one. Kate Field, obviously the star attraction, star name in this one. A field that has plenty of different age groups in this one, and an event that you tend to see a lot of younger athletes in, but most of these athletes starved the competition so far this year. So big field here for the women's 5k race walk, 11 laps to go at this stage. Kate Field representing West Waterford, well known for winning that World Youth title a couple of years ago now, but still the class of the field here. Sarah Glennon as well, the Mullingar Harrier athlete, multiple schools titles over the years, so we have plenty of action in this one, Carl.
Yeah, it's going to be a right dust up. I suppose Kate Field is sort of the elder stateswoman at this stage, even though she's by no means old relative to a few of these in the field. Sarah Glennon is only 19 years old. Maria Flynn, 19. Emily McHugh's only 17, so lots of young blood in here trying to take it to the seniors. Kate Field is a 9-time national senior champion, counting her indoor and outdoor titles. She's tucked in there in 4th place at the moment, walking on the inside in that familiar blue and white strip of West Waterford.
Yeah, that's Sinead McConnell there from Finn Valley at the front of this one at the moment. And then Maggie Helen O'Connor from St. Joseph's AC just behind her. So those two athletes, let's say, in the autumn of their careers, here at the front of this field. And as I said, Kate Field just tucked in on the inside of that field there in the white and blue of West Waterford. As mentioned, the previously mentioned Sarah Glennon there from Mullingar Harriers, just pretty much at the back of that front group there at the moment. And the West Waterford, or the Waterford AC athlete Maeve O'Connor, just at the back of the field.
Great stuff. We've got lots coming up here this afternoon. We have 2 finals in the field events. The men's discus is going to be getting underway in about 5 minutes. That's out in the backfield. We have a camera roving out there to bring us that action later. We'll catch up with the top throws from the men's discus. And in about 10 minutes time, the men's triple jump will be getting going. They're already warming up there on the back straight, as you can see behind the athletes as they come up for the first 2 laps.
Yeah, that's Maria Flynn there of Naas AC. She's driving away at the front here and kind of putting this field under a little bit of pressure early doors. Our early leaders there from Finn Valley, Sinead McConnell and Maggie Helen O'Connor of St. Joseph's have gone to the back of that group after that insertion of pace from Maria Flynn. She's got about metre and a half there on her nearest contenders, but these look like this looks like a fairly major move. It's broken that gap back to broken that rope back to the athletes there in that second group.
Certainly there seems to be 4 pulling away here, and I guess athletes at this point already know the wheat's been separated from the chaff, I suppose, in athletic terms. And if you want to be in the medals, you're probably going to have to go with this move, and it is a very strong move as they come up now for the first kilometre. We see the lap counter just ticking all the way up to 9. It currently says 19 laps to go, but that'll be amended, and because this will be 10 laps to go for these athletes as they come through. And Maria Flynn is turning to screw out front, but Kate Field right on it in second.
Yeah, Ruth Monaghan there and Sarah Glennon battling it out there for 3rd place, but Maria Flynn still striding away purposely here at the front of this field. But these 4 athletes certainly putting a gap into the rest of the field. Ruth Monaghan, as just mentioned there, the Sligo athlete there in 4th place. She is only under 17, I think, and she is just hanging on there onto that group. But Sarah Glennon has now made about a metre and a half on her. So the 3 athletes in front now are Flynn, Veale and Glennon.
Yeah, they seem to be pulling away here. We would expect this is how it would have went beforehand, and it's certainly playing to form right now as they come up on 3 laps. You can see the difference in styles there really between Flynn and Veale at the front. Flynn just has that upper body, is kind of a lot more forward. Veale a lot more upright style, but again covering the ground equally as fluent, and just a gap there. Forging back to Sarah Glennon in 3rd. The teenager is in the middle positions at the moment, but can she stay there? Sarah Glennon, 19 years old. She's a personal best of 25:16 for this distance on the track, but she's gone quicker on the roads over 5k. She's gone 24:51 on that. Kate Veale, of course, is the indoor champion. 14:47 she did there to win that indoor title over 3 kilometres back in, when was that, February. Seems a different world at this stage, Ronan.
It certainly does. Back in February at the National Indoor Championships, we were bumping elbows and hoping that would suffice in order to fight off the spectre of
And thankfully it
COVID-19.
was.
And it was grand. We're all fine. But that was certainly what seems like a world away now. Indoor athletics seems like something that you would be far away enough on the calendar now at the moment, as Maria Flynn and Kate Veale have opened that gap back to Sarah Glennon and Ruth Monaghan. So these two battling it out here for this national title. Just to be aware as well that there are plenty of officials dotted around the track who will be dishing out those yellow and red cards. And I see they've got the sin bin out here as well, kind of a larger than normal in order to be able to socially distance athletes if they do end up in the pen at the same time. But it's quite a large pen they have down there, Cathal.
It is. We'll give people a look at that when they pass around on the next lap. We'll get a quick glance at the sin bin. It was only introduced a few years ago under new rules from World Athletics to said, you know, maybe if athletes are repeatedly transgressing the rules, let's not throw them out immediately. Let's give them a little sin binning so they'll be in there for well, it depends on the time of the penalty, depends on the distance of the race. I think for a 5 kilometres it might be 30 seconds or 45 seconds. I believe it's 60 seconds or so over 10 kilometres.
Well worth cheating, so if it's only going to be 30 seconds, Cathal.
Arguably. Debatable. We've had enough discussions about cheating this weekend already when it comes to Vaporfly shoes and our discussions around EPO earlier on.
Exactly, yeah, and they had injection of pace there from Maria Flynn earlier as well, really stealing a march on this field, but she hasn't stolen a march on Kate Veale here, the World Youth Champion there in second place, but it's certainly a large chasm-like gap back to Sarah Glennon and Ruth Monaghan there in third and fourth. Plenty of action down the rest of the field, but we'll get that information to you later. But at the moment, Flynn and Veale still leading this one out here. As we come around the curve into the straightaway, you'll see that sin bin, that pen of despair just on your left.
We have it up there on screen. You'll see the athletes in the background whipping around that bend. That's where they'll be going, in to have a chat with that official. It's an interesting situation. I've only seen it a couple of times. Happened a bit at World Under-20s a couple of years ago. 10 kilometres is the race distance up there, and European Under-20s last year. Athletes do get sent in there, and I'm not going to lie, it's quite hilarious when they do, because suddenly they're in the middle of a race and they just have to sit down. Well, no one sits down. They stand around and they just walk. They don't know what to do. They don't know who they are. When they're stuck in there.
They know who they are on the track. They identify with the personality and the persona that they have here on this track. But in the pen, life is different. And life has been made quite tough here for the rest of the field by Maria Flynn and Kate Veale, and they're really storming away from this field call.
Yeah, Maria Flynn, relative to Kate Veale, we don't know as much about her, but she is really an up-and-coming talent in the walks. Again, 19 years old. She's done 14:41 for 3 kilometres, which is excellent race walking. And last year, she was the Irish Under-20 champion outdoors. So Maria Flynn is really an emerging name. And as we see here, are we seeing a changing of the guard when it comes to senior women's Irish race walking? Because Maria Flynn is really putting it up to Kate Veale here. She is taking the wind though, and they're into a considerable headwind down that back straight. And as we saw in last week's 1500 metres, 5,000 metres, the person who led into that wind, Sean Tobin in the men's 1500, and it was John Travers in the men's 5,000 metres. They eventually conceded the gold medal by small margins towards the finish, so fine margins hinge between gold and silver here, and certainly Kate Veale, I suppose mentally as well, just been must getting a relative rest relative to the effort being put into this by Maria Flynn out front. Kate Veale is able to just switch off, focus on her technique, and know that her only job for the next 7 laps is to cling to the coattails of Maria Flynn like a limpet.
Yeah, Maria Flynn has shown some serious improvement over the last year. In last year's junior race in Pobrady, which I believe is in the Czech Republic. I've never been to Pobrady, but it sounds lovely. And she was actually almost a minute and a half behind Sarah Glennon, finishing 2 places behind her, but a minute and a half in that field. But now she is easily the guts of 30 seconds in front of Sarah Glennon here at Stadium here for the Irish Life Health National Senior Championships. But she is probably done a good bit of training over the last year and is trying to show her class here ahead of the experienced head of Kate Veale.
Certainly, I mean, lockdown, it doesn't do anyone any favours, but certainly for distance runners and race walkers, you'd expect them to be two of the least affected, I suppose. Race walkers especially are used to doing their road events over a 2k loop, their track events, of course, over 400 metres. So a 2k limit, when it was thrown at them, they must have said, I'll see your 2k limit. This is my life, Irish government. Neff it.
Exactly.
You don't know how I've been living for the last few years. This is what I do.
Absolutely, and athletes that are extremely tough. The amount of training these athletes will be doing throughout the week in terms of their mileage, their technical work, gym work is incredible. An event that takes an awful lot of fortitude, and I suppose Cathal doesn't really get a huge amount of credit. Robert Heffernan, as we were chatting to there on the way around, he's out in the park chatting to him, and he's one of the few that brought it really into the mainstream over the last couple of years.
Yeah, Rob Heffernan, the star of Irish racewalking and the star of Irish sport. He has paved the way. He made this event fashionable, and he put it on the mark from an Irish perspective. And lots following in Rob's footsteps these days, as indeed a lot of these women will have followed in the footsteps of Gillian O'Sullivan, Olive Loughnane, global medalists, heroes in Irish sport. And when a lot of these athletes would have been sitting on their living room carpets 10, 12, 15 years ago, it would have been Gillian O'Sullivan and indeed Olive Loughnane that they would have been looking up to. And the airport homecomings and interviews on the Late Late Show, all that sort of stuff, it can all filter into the mindset of a young athlete. And I'm sure a lot of these athletes would say, I was inspired by those trailblazers, as indeed more recently they would have been by the exploits of Rob Heffernan.
Yeah, certainly, and on the women's front of Kate Veale in the last couple of years as well, and that Kate Veale is in second place here behind Maria Flynn with 6 laps to go. So 2,400 metres left for these athletes. It's a grueling event, but these athletes are really putting on a display here at the front. Maria Flynn, the Naas AC athlete. I would say Cathal Veale no more than half a metre behind her at the moment, all the way back then to Ruth Monaghan and Sarah Glennon then in 4th place. Those athletes we trying to battle it out here. We don't have the in terms of start list who the under 23 athletes are in this one, but I think you've got a lot of the details there in terms of the age group, so we might see an under 23 title going someone's way here as well.
Yeah, and it's a very big step up this year for Maria Flynn. Obviously she's an under 20 athlete. She won't turn 20 until next July, and she's never done national senior championships before, stuck to the underage competitions, but she is certainly leaving her mark here on what is her debut at the national seniors. Can she make it a golden one? As we pass the halfway stage, it's looking very possible that will be the fate for Maria Flynn. But Kate Veale, we've seen her. She knows how to get it done in this setting. I mean, at one point in her career, she knew how to get it done in a global setting, winning that 2011 it was when she won that World Youth, or Under 18 title, as it's known now. An athlete of outstanding class and indeed courage, and she is here ready to throw it down, and she looks like a move here, Ronan, with 5 and a little laps to go. Kate Veale to the front for the first time in the women's 5k race walk.
Yeah, coming up towards this 2k to go mark, Kate Veale is really thrown down the gauntlet to the younger athlete here, Maria Flynn of Naas AC, and she is striding away purposely here. She's gaining a metre, 2 metres on Maria Flynn, who's obviously fought so well and showed no respect, I suppose, to Kate Veale here over the early laps. As we see Joy Benson there on the back straight in the triple jump, he'll be one of the favourites for that triple jump title, the Lagan Valley AC man. Veale still leading this one though in the walk. Maria Flynn, you've seen over the course of the last 150 metres, Veale has opened up 5, 6, 7 metres on Maria Flynn, and Ruth Monaghan will have looked up and said to herself, oh, Maria Flynn could be coming back towards me, or is Kate Veale moving away? I can't tell from here, but I'm certainly going to chase.
Yeah, it's certainly an honest chase at the moment, but this looks decisive. I'd be shocked if Kate Veale comes back to Maria Flynn at this point. She has socially distanced about 25 metres down that back straight, and Kate Veale looks to be on her way to yet another. The perfect 10 this will be if she holds it together over this final mile and a bit.
Certainly, and Sarah Glennon there in 4th place as well, having a bit of trouble with her calves, as this looks to be 100% sure that is their call. We'll get to start list on that men's triple jump.
Yeah, we have 9 athletes in here to give you the full rundown while we have a moment. It's Joy Benson of Lagan Valley, Conall Mahon of Tir Conall, Joshua Knox of City of Lisburn, Sheldon Romea Neoni of West Muskerry, Michael Tony of Listowel, Michael Alajiki of Dundalgan, Quailon O'Callaghan of Tir Conall, Niall Coonahan of Clonliffe Harriers, and Mark Burton of City of Lisburn. I think that might have been the City of Lisburn singlet.
Hard to
Perhaps
tell.
not.
I think
We won't guess.
I think it was Quailon O'Callaghan, I will guess, of Tir Conall AC, or one of the athletes from Tir Conall. And that one, that looks to be the City of Lisburn vest, which is slightly different to the one we just saw previously. So this is one of our lads from, no, it's our only lad from City of Lisburn, it was Mark Burton.
Under 23, he'll certainly be in contention. So we'll have a look at his jump. Kate Veale has just crossed the mile to go, and she is all alone out front, 60 metres to the good.
That is, in fact, Joshua Knox of City of Lisburn. It was Conall Mahon of Tir Conall AC in the previous round, and Jay Benson was the first athlete you saw there with the backwards cap of Lagan Valley. So up next will be Sheldon Romeo Neon of West Muskerry AC.
And Kate Veale, we can update you, back at the race walk, is just entering the back straight there, and she has at least 70 metres now. She only moved 800 metres ago, and she has already put 70, maybe even 80 metres into Maria Flynn, who is keeping on very well, the youngster. She looks to be well on her way to a silver medal in her first National Senior Championships, but again, the queen of this domain, Kate Veale, looks well on her way to gold.
She certainly does, and that gap is really just growing by the second, so Kate Veale really showing a turn of speed there as well. When she did make the move, it was a decisive one. With just over 2k to go, Kate Veale has destroyed this field, and Maria Flynn in second place. It's getting caught by every single moment. Ruth Monaghan is looking up and thinking, I'm going to catch you. We've only got 1,200 metres left to run or so, and Maria Flynn is eating up the yards there. Ruth Monaghan is eating up the yards there on Maria Flynn. Sarah Glennon, I'll just have a look around there, seems to have she's pulled out, in fact, the 19-year-old athlete who was in fourth place. So I had some calf issues there on the way around, so she's pulled out. So Ruth Monaghan looks to be safe and sound in third place. She's going to gun for more.
Great conclusion for those minor medals in that women's 5k race walk. And back on the triple jump runway, I believe this is Dundalgan's. Is that Dundalgan's Michael Alajiki, I think?
It is, Carl. That's the Dundalgan AC vest. They are the white and red. And it is Michael Ajajiki in this men's triple jump.
First round, so it's still really all to play out for, but they'll be delighted to have the wind at their backs. Kate Veale has come through with 3 laps to walk now, and she has extended that lead to about 100 metres, I would say, over the long-time leader, Maria Flynn, who is holding on for dear life in second. Can she keep that silver as it is, or will she be hunted down? It's getting very close out there.
Yeah, good effort there from Michael Adajiki of Dundalgan AC. We've got a white flag on that one, so he'll be happy to get himself into that pit. We'll give you some results of that men's triple jump as it comes.
And we have a pass, though, in the women's race walk about to happen, or I suspect it's about to happen. And Sligo's Ruth Monaghan has finally hunted down Maria Flynn with 3 laps to go. And does Maria Flynn, as we see the pass, athletes always advise young athletes to pass decisively, pass hard, and go quickly past. Don't give a person an option of staying with you. And right now, I think Ruth Monaghan tried to do that, thought she was going to loop around Maria Flynn, but Maria Flynn said no.
Yeah, it's a walk on fire here in Maria Flynn. As Sinead Sam would say, is the hunter and the hunted here with 850 metres left to go, or 650 metres left to go. Maria Flynn and Ruth Monaghan here battling out. That's going to be a cracking finish.
Yeah, great battle for silver. The lead now is over 100 metres. So Kate Veale rounds into the home straight at the moment, and she is really flying as we're back to the triple jump runway.
We certainly are, and that is Tir Conall AC's Caelan O'Callaghan.
Extends very well. Almost down the runway like a high jumper almost there with the long bounding strides. For those asking about the discus throw, it's being held outside the arena, unfortunately, because of issues with the turf, I suppose, and damaging the turf in here, unfortunately, for our colleagues from football. So that's being held just outside the arena, but we do have a camera out there. We're unfortunately unable to bring you live shots of the men's discus, but we are taping all the best throws and we'll bring them to you at the end of the show. We can update you as we go along as well, and if you're looking for live results from that, live.athleticsIreland.ie is the place to go, and you'll get your round by round, hopefully, updates on there. And so yeah, we'll do our best as we can, and we'll also be having a chat with the winner of that later on, which you'll find on the Athletics Ireland social media platforms. But Kate Veale is on the penultimate lap, and it's once again a very familiar setting, her road to glory, as we look back to the men's triple jump.
Yeah, this is Mark Burton, the under-23 athlete from City of Lisburn here. Very quick down the runway, very low approach. And we'll see whether he gets a white flag on that one. He does get a white flag, so he'll be quite happy there. We'll give you results from that as soon as we can. That's senior men's discus as well, Cathal. Sean Bernock and Colin Quirk, Owen Sheridan all in that one. Some exciting race. And
back at the race walk, we see that's the battle for silver there on your screen. And no surprises since we left it last. Ruth Monaghan, it looked like she was going to overtake Maria Flynn. She finally has broken her. It appears anyway, with 700 metres to go for them. That is the race for silver, and Ruth Monaghan looks to be on her way, the Sligo athlete. But is there one last kick in Maria Flynn? Because just as they turned into that back straight, it looked like she picked up the pace again. And we see Jai Benson, the striking image of the backwards baseball hat and the long white socks. He's ready to roll. We'll bring you the end. Kate Veale has 500 metres to walk, so we'll show you her glory lap after this. But we'll just catch Jai Benson, obviously one of the big contenders. He's a 14.96 jumper. And if you're in and around the 15-metre mark at nationals in the triple jump, it's usually enough to get it done in this setting. Can Jai Benson produce something in and around 15 metres? He's just collapsed there on the third phase. Devastated. Let's hope he's all right.
He certainly did. Look like it was going to be a big jump from the former Irish Schools champion. Kate Veale here with a lap to go. It's nothing but a glory lap for Kate Veale. She's striding purposely away from the field. The West Waterford AC athlete, inspired by the likes of Jamie Costin down there in West Waterford over the years, and plenty other walkers besides that. But a serious battle on for second place here as well, as Ruth Monaghan and Maria Flynn here. There's about 20 metres of a difference in them with 450 metres left, but it's going to be a cracking finish.
Yeah, we'll pan back for a moment just to give you a look at them. There were a few warnings been dished out in recent laps. I think these two athletes were alright. I didn't spot any yellow cards coming their way anyway. But Ruth Monaghan, as you can see, the officials there watching like absolute hawks as they pass through. And it looks like that renewed effort from Maria Flynn has come to an end. She just doesn't seem to have the pace today to go with the effort, the final kick, as it were, from Ruth Monaghan here. Ruth Monaghan looks to be on her way to silver. Maria Flynn well on her way to bronze. But let's focus on the champion, because she is such a deserving champion out front, as we see it run through there in the men's triple jump. We'll go back to that. But Kate Veale is only 200 metres less than that now to walk. 9 national senior titles for the 26-year-old West Waterford athlete, and this is going to make it the perfect 10. In 2011, she was the world under-18 champion. Such a brilliant achievement for an athlete so young. She fell away from the sport for a few years after that, has spoken very openly about her difficulties, but I tell you what, she's come through them with amazing strength and courage, and she is back. It's so brilliant to see Kate Veale back on top, back at the summit of Irish women's race walking once again. It's been a strange 2020 for everyone, but it's been a great one for Kate Veale. Indoors, over 3,000 metres, she won the national title with 14.47. Her PB at this distance is 21.30. That dates back all the way to 2011. It's going to be a few minutes outside that. But the time won't matter at all to Kate Veale as she comes up lapping athletes now. All that matters is the gold. And Kate Veale of West Waterford AC, it's the perfect 10th national title for her.
Yeah, incredible performance there from Kate Veale to get the win in that one, showing her experience sitting in on Maria Flynn from the ACAC, who will surely be back over the intervening years, judging by the first couple of kilometres of that race walk. But Ruth Monaghan in second place had a fantastic finish here, and she's coming around into the home straight, as we see on the runway. Mullingar Harriers. Apologies, that is not Mullingar Harriers. That is Sheldon Romeo Naoni of West Muskerry AC.
Yeah, it's not the usual West Muskerry singlet, so I'm not sure. We've had some errors on our start list previously when it came to some clubs and identifying athletes, but the number does correspond. But we see our silver medalist here up to the finish, Ruth Monaghan. Brilliant effort from her, forged her way up into the medals and then takes a silver one, and she is delighted. Look at that expression on her face. It's brilliant to see an athlete show their emotions at the line. A suitable hug there goes for the hug and elbow, and then I suppose a bit of a chest bump in the end, and fair play. Ruth is gold medalist. Always great to see Kate Veale hanging around congratulating the minor medalist. She is champ once again, and a brilliant effort from 19-year-old Maria Flynn up to the line. Led for so long, a smile breaks across her face as she reaches the finish. Stops the watch like Joshua Cheptegei. That might end up on Strava at some point. But Maria Flynn, the youngster in her first National Senior Championships, the junior champion, has already got herself a senior bronze. Well done to all our 3 medalists. Kate Veale, Ruth Monaghan and Maria Flynn. Brilliant stuff from those ladies.
It appears we were right with Sheldon Romeo. He is a West Muskerry AC athlete, but it's a strange singlet he has on there. It's not the usual colours. This is the man from Dundalgan AC. That's Michael Adajiki. Jumped well in the first round. We're hoping to bring you those results as soon as we can. And up to the line, just coming on the women's race walk, our 4th placer is just about to cross. That's Maggie Helen O'Connor of St. Joseph's AC. She's going to be coming in probably around 26 minutes. This clock has stopped when Kate Veale crossed, but well done to our 4th placer, just short of a medal today, Maggie Helen O'Connor. Great to see the athletes giving her a well-deserved round of applause. We've 3 athletes now left out on the track. And next it's going to be Finn Valley's Sinead McConnell finishing 5th. Yeah, and here goes Michael Adjiki from Dundalgan. Wasn't too far to come down the M1, but he's gone pretty far on that long jump. We'll hopefully get, a result in that one, but he's got a white flag. Yeah, as we see Sinead McConnell coming up to the finish there. Great to be able to bring both events to you. And across she comes. And then it's Eva Della Hunt, and you can hear the roars probably here beneath us. Great to see the rivals cheering on their friends and rivals. This is Eva Della Hunt of Sligo AC coming up to the finish. She is going to finish in 6th place, I think it is. Yeah, 6th place for Eva Della Hunt. Well done to her. Obviously the men's 10k coming up shortly as well. 10k race walk followed by the men's 10k run, I suppose you'd call it, in reference to the lack of walking in it. Some lads might be walking at the end considering the tough pace that's going to be set in that men's 10k, but on the runway now we've got Caelan O'Callaghan from Tyrconnell AC. I haven't seen Niall Coonahan there. One of the no, I believe Niall Coonahan got an injury recently, so I'm not sure why he showed up on the actual start list, because that would have been athletes who checked in, but I believe he had a calf injury in recent weeks. As we see our last athlete, that's Maeve O'Connor, and I say last, but really it's 7th, because she is not last. She's made it to the finish. Other athletes did not. So well done to young Maeve O'Connor of Waterford AC, 7th place in an Irish Senior Championships, as we look back to the triple. Yeah, here's Caelan O'Callaghan. Said very tall athlete, very springy athlete, and it's hoping to have achieved a high level of performance there. Well, they look like they're measuring it. No flags have gone up just yet, but we would have to assume that it is a white flag on that one, or flag aircraft controller type situation going on there. He's obviously let the plane crash here. He's not waving his flags at all. Absolutely not. They wouldn't approve of that. Interesting rule on drone flying over Morton Stadium. Due to its proximity to the airport, you can actually fly a drone around the first bend here, but you can't fly it around the rest of the track because it comes into the airspace of Dublin Airport, where drones are not permitted. So RT, if you want to get creative in future years and you want to fly a drone to record something in Century, you'll be able to do so at the very end of the stadium around that opening bend, say of a 400 metres, but you won't be able to go any further than that. Outrageous. Thanks for that call. Anytime. City Lisburn's AC's athlete here, Mark Burton, the under 23, one of the 223s in this field, jumping out there and getting the white flag, or in this case getting no flag, but it is being measured. And we should have, no, he's disregarded on the flag front there. He's literally holding his flags close to his chest as we speak. Yeah, Mark Burton's an excellent jumper. 15.24 at his best. That dates back 2 years now, and he took the national title, his first Irish senior title indoors this year. So Mark Burton will certainly be one to watch. Or sorry, it was last year he actually won that indoor title with 14.29. He jumped there. But again, a 15 metre plus jumper at his best. If he can produce that here, like we said, it will likely be good enough for gold. It's interesting looking at some of the flags on the back straight. They're sort of blowing across. Generally, they're kind of with the athletes' backs, but a lot of them will be blowing into their right-hand side, I guess. So you might get lucky relative to your rivals, as we see Jai Benson back, the 20-year-old. Yeah, Benson will be one of the favourites for this competition, and he gets another white flag on that one. So a successful jump, and hopefully we'll, as I said, we're not actually getting any results for you, so we can't give you a fully up-to-date situation there in terms of the results, but certainly Jai Benson will be amongst the medals you would expect by the end of this men's senior triple jump.
Yeah, I believe some of the officials may have been required in the race walk. I know there's a bit of a meeting of minds here amongst the race walk judges right now, sort of a conference, as it were, regarding lifting and locking out with 80 metres to go on the track. So we'll they're probably discussing who has fouls and whatnot and whether anyone spotted something, just making sure all is in order and that there's no disqualifications. And as I said, they're hiding behind the pole right now as we look at them, so we'll keep our focus on the triple jump.
Yeah, that's Conal Mahan there of Tirconal AC, striding perfectly down the runways. Very quick approach.
Great speed. Looked like he jumped out to the left a bit there in the final phase. That'd be pretty typical, of course. It's probably one of the events in athletics that really combines the greatest range of qualities. You don't just need speed, strength, elasticity, lightness and all that in your stride. You also need great balance.
Yeah, you can often see plenty of triple jumpers taking to events like the 400 hurdles, the 800 and the high jump. So athletes that are combining a whole range of and sets of skills and abilities here in the triple jump. And as we mentioned earlier in the women's triple jump, an event that is an attritional event. You'd be lucky to get a full career in the triple jump.
Certainly.
That is Joshua Knox there of City Lisburn AC on the runway. A clubmate of Mark Burton, as you mentioned, the National Senior Indoor Champion in 2019. Another very strong approach there, and I have to say, technically quite good. There was not a whole lot. You see a lot of the other athletes are coming in very, very quick, not really at an optimum speed, and losing a lot of their speed then in the jump, whereas our good friend here from City Lisburn, Joshua Knox, there was very clean in his approach.
Yeah, excellent stuff. As
see
we
women's
see Sheldon Romeo Naoni of West Muskerry is back on the runway.
He certainly is, and after this we'll take you to the women's 5K presentation as Ruth Monaghan was lining up behind third place there, which was quite funny. We'll take you to that after we get this jump from West Muskerry athlete.
Georgina Drum is placing the medals in front of them. But we'll keep an eye here because this is Sheldon Romeo Naoni on the runway. Good speed again. Just looks down a little, and he had it until the last phase, and I think his right leg there just collapsed a little on that final step. But he'll have many more attempts to get that right. First two phases were brilliant. Looks to be getting the white flag. That is being measured the old school way with the tape. No lasers here. And we'll cut back to our presentation because three women have very much earned these medals. Maria Flynn on your right led early, faded a little towards the end, but beaten by two better athletes on the day. But she'll be atop that podium on the top step one day soon, the 19-year-old. Silver went to Ruth Monaghan of Sligo AC, came through brilliantly with a superb last kilometre to take the silver. And yet again, for the 10th time, Kate Veale back on top. She's just ripping open the plastic there, getting her medal out. And up she goes. National Senior Champion once again. The women's 5,000 metre race walk. Puts on her medal. They'll be posing for pictures with Sam Barnes alongside Athletics Ireland's president Georgina Drum. And you'll be able to catch a chat with Kate Veale on Athletics Ireland's social media platforms. That'll be uploaded presently when I sprint down to have a chat with her.
So we will bring you deferred coverage there of the men's discus as well. I know a lot of people asking for coverage of that, and that will be coming your way very shortly. But on the runway now we have Michael Adejiki from Dundalgan AC storming down the runway here. Very powerful athlete, and looks to have jumped quite well in that one as he gets a white flag. The Louth man, Michael Adejiki. Said still no official results in these at the moment. We will get you those results as soon as we can. Same as the discus, no results coming in from that at the moment, but certainly going to be an excellent field in that one. Owen Sheridan from Clonliffe Harriers, Colin Quirk and Sean Burnock, probably the three biggest names in that one. Big field in that. Sean Burnock, Padraig Orr, Michael Sheeran, James O'Neill, Mark Tierney, Gavin McLaughlin, Michael Healy, Owen Sheridan, Colin Quirk, Brendan Stoughton, Larry O'Grady, Tristan Chambers and Sean Carlin. And we've just had an update, as if they were listening to me. Padraig Orr is currently in fourth place in that one, 43.01. Third place is Michael Healy of Veale AC with 44.04. Owen Sheridan, 52.52. It's in second place, the Clonliffe Harrier in that one. And Colin Quirk is currently leading that, 55.50. Just a quick run through with the triple jump here. And this is Quillan O'Callaghan from Tyrcullen AC. He's jumped 13.77 so far in the second round. Third round jump coming here now. And we can finally update you on this. Back in seventh place is Michael Toney. We don't have results for Sheldon Romeo Neoni, but Michael Toney was 12.93. He's in seventh place. Sixth place currently is Joshua Knox, 13.39 for sixth place. That was in his third round. Conal Mahan of Tyrcullen has jumped 13.75. That was in his third round there. His failure in the second round. In fourth place, Quaylon O'Callaghan, who's just jumped. He jumped 13.77 there in the second round. And Mark Burton, who's on your screen right now, is in second place. He's jumped 14.29. Third place is Jai Benson, 14.18. And first place at the moment is Michael Adajiki with 14.40. The athlete from Dundee AC is 11 centimetres to the good of this man, Mark Burton, as we go into the third round. So Burton under pressure here, the Silly Lismore AC athlete. That looks like a clean jump. We'll hopefully bring that result to you as soon as he can. But Adajiki with 14.40 in the lead in that one. Second place, Mark Burton with 14.29. And Jai Benson with 14.18. So really tight competition there. 22 centimetres between first and third. And then the likes of Quaylon O'Callaghan and Conal Mahan, the two Tyrcullen athletes battling it out there. 14.04 for Mark Burton in that third round. So no improvement from him from his first round jump of 14.29. You see the men's race walkers coming out on track. I can bring you back to those discus results to give you the field in full of those who are in it. Mark Tierney, 36.55. Fifth place, James O'Neill, 40.30. Fourth place is Padraig Orr, and I see Sean Burnock, who I think has a bit of an injury but will be competing in the shot put tomorrow, but may only be delivering a standing throw of around 16 metres and hoping that's good enough. He is not there, so fifth was James O'Neill, fourth Padraig Orr, 43.01. Then third place, Michael Healy, 44.04. Owen Sheridan, who was mixing cement earlier this summer but packed it in order to be able to compete here and to train over the last couple of months. He is in second place from Clonliffe Harriers, 52.52. And Colin Quirk said he flew back from America a couple of weeks back. He's been quarantining. He was only a couple of meters shy of last year of the championship best performance here at the Irish Life National Senior Championships. He's thrown 55.50. And we'll get an idea of this race walk start here now as well, as you see directly on your screen. So full field in this one is Jerome Caprice there of Dundrum South Dublin on the inside. Colin Walsh from Mullingar Harriers. Matthew Glennon, whose sister Sarah Glennon went in the women's event earlier from Mullingar Harriers. Also Callum Wilkinson, the world under-20 champion from Toker AC there in four. David Kenny, the under-23 athlete from Farranfore Main Valley, the Kerryman, who Robert Heffernan was threatening not to allow home on the train, sending him home on the train, I believe, or keeping him off the train if he didn't perform today. So he'll have to be at his best today to try and break Robert Heffernan's own under-23 record. Joe Mooney from Adamstown AC, former Irish Schools champion there in the colours of Adamstown. Brendan Boyce from Finn Valley then is the seventh athlete in this, and Ryan Roberts from Sligo AC then in this one. So the three main men have already gone away from this field. That is Wilkinson there in the lead. In second is David Kenny from Farranfore Main Valley, and Brendan Boyce there, who's already losing that a little bit of a gap there to David Kenny in second place and Callum Wilkinson in first place. Boyce is in third from Finn Valley. Back to Jerome Caprice then in fourth place from Dundrum, South Dublin. But these three, the class of this field, Wilkinson, followed by Kenny, followed by Boyce. Just 10k today, so Boyce, better known as a 50k athlete, may struggle with the speed in this one, but young David Kenny and Callum Wilkinson will be battling it out here as a yellow card is already dished out early doors. What looks like to Callum Wilkinson, but Kenny there just on the outside of lane one, holding on to Wilkinson at the moment. Boyce in third, Caprice back in fourth place. Glennon then also receiving a yellow card, back in fifth with the Mullingar Harrier athlete next to Joe Mooney from Adamstown AC. Let's see here on the runway is Mark Burton. I'll give you an idea of, he was in second place when we left them. He's tearing down the runway here. Looks to have got a white flag. He has got a white flag. So 14:04 in that last round. So we'll just give you an idea of if there's been any major updates in this one. No updates on the results so far. So we're blind in the senior men's triple jump, but we're not blind here to the demonstration of walking that's going on the track. Wilkinson at the front, and in second is David Kenny, the under 23 athlete. Boyce back in third then, and Drone Caprice back in fourth. Not 100% sure which of our front two got that yellow card. It looked to be Wilkinson, but we'll get a closer idea of who has actually got that card. See Boyce there on screen as well. He's hoping to hold on to these two younger lads over 10k, and you never know, you might even see a couple of yellow cards being dished out as we come by this official here. He dished out the yellow card on the last lap. As we see the athlete here from, I think it's Tyrconnell. Yeah, I think that was, could have been, in fact, it is Michael Toney of Listool AC. So just to give you an idea of that men's triple jump, no changes thus far as we go into the fourth round. Michael Adajiki, the leader, will be up momentarily. So Adajiki is in the lead with 14:40, Burton with 14:29 in second place, and Jai Benson with 14:18, then back in third. 1 and 2 in this one, Wilkinson and Kenny. Cathal.
Two emerging stars of the race walk on display here, Callum Wilkinson and David Kenny. Just to clarify, Callum Wilkinson is of course British. There's another warning, well, we don't know if that's another one, but it's definitely looked like a yellow flag going out there for Callum Wilkinson and there for Brendan Boyce back in third. So early danger for two of the big men here. Will David Kenny in second be taking confidence from that if indeed it looked like that card went across in front of Wilkinson?
Yeah, that's Wilkinson's second yellow. I would suspect it looked like it came to him on that first lap as well. So Wilkinson possibly with 2 yellow cards and Boyce with 1 call.
Yeah, Wilkinson, for those who don't know too much about him, he is really an emerging star of the race walk. He was World Under-20 champion in 2016. Outstanding performance there. He's 23 now. His PB at this distance, he's the quickest man in the field with 40 minutes, 29 seconds. And if you put Callum Wilkinson in many a 10k road race, let's be honest, across the country, Ireland or England or anywhere in the world, he'd beat the vast majority of the field while race walking. That's how good he is. He's the British under-20 record holder. We set 40-30. He did that as a under-20 in 2016. That was the summer he won that World Under-20 title in Bydgoszcz. He also set the British under-23 record at 20k. That was 1:21:34. That, for those who don't know race walking, is truly global standard race walking, as we see Jai Benson hit the sand there in the men's triple jump on his third attempt.
Yeah, there's Boyce from Finn Valley, as said, better known as a 50k athlete, and he is he's about 60-70 meters behind these two younger athletes in first and second Wilkinson and Kenny.
He referred to me as the biggest spoofer in athletics shortly before this race there down on the track.
Who did?
Brendan Boyce.
No comment from myself, Cathal.
I fully agreed with him. I said, you're dead right, Brendan. But back to the front here in Callum Wilkinson. Well, Rob Heffernan told us we expected Wilkinson to perhaps walk away from Kenny today. He is, at the moment, probably the stronger athlete over this distance. But there's very little between them, and David Kenny, from an Irish perspective, really is the new star. If you were to pick a man who's going to follow in the footsteps of Brendan Boyce, of Robert Heffernan, of Colin Griffin, of Jamie Costin, of all those great names who've passed down the way in Irish men's race walking, David Kenny would be it. He is an outstanding athlete. He is 21 years old. His PB for this distance is 45 minutes, but that's not a fair reflection. He'll go a lot quicker than that, probably today and in the years to come. He really is an emerging star this year as well. He's just committed to a new higher level of training, working under Rob Heffernan, and as we all know, Rob Heffernan expects nothing but the best from his athletes, and that's what he demands from David Kenny. Speaking to one of the judges there just before this race as well, they were saying, they expect, to be honest, he said David Kenny is better at his age than Rob Heffernan was. So big words there. Obviously what Rob went on to do in his late 20s and 30s was outstanding, and there's many rivers to cross before someone like David Kenny can achieve that, but we'll see if he can manage that.
Yeah, Cahill putting serious pressure on David Kenny there, but at the
no
moment
pressure, Dave. Sorry about that.
At the moment, it's Wilkinson putting the pressure on Kenny, first and second here. Wilkinson and Kenny, as we see our leader Michael Adajiki from Dundalgan AC in the men's triple jump. He was in the lead going into this last 3 rounds, and he appears still to be in the lead. Jai Benson has no improvement on his 14:18 from round 1. From round 2. And that was Michael Adajiki, Dundalgan. Second place is Mark Burton. He's jumped 14:29 in that first round, but no improvement for him thus far. You see Wilkinson storming away here from David Kenny. This gap has been toing and froing like an accordion here. It's been back and forth, but at the moment Kenny looks to be in position there in second place, 10 metres to the good from Callum Wilkinson. Wilkinson in the colours of Toker AC, famously worn by Robert Heffernan, whose record David Kenny is trying to beat. Boyce back in third, and in fourth place we go all the way back to Jerome from DSD for fourth place. This is the man from West Muskerry, Sheldon Romeo Enoi, whose we've had no results for so far, so he could actually quite clearly be in the lead in this one and we wouldn't have a clue, but he is jumping well in around a similar distance at 13-14 metres there, so he could be in the lead in this. At the moment we have no results for him whatsoever. See some of the back markers here in this race walk. Jerome, Mooney and Glennon. Glennon received a yellow card earlier on. No sign of a sin binning for any of these athletes yet. We're obviously partially hoping for that, just for the hilarity of it, but at the moment everyone has stayed out of it, stayed out of the sin bin. Just confirms up Colin Quirk with a win there in the shot put, in the discus, with several very long throws of 55 metres. He threw 55-24, 55-45 and 55-50 in 3 of those 6 rounds. So an incredible performance from Colin Quirk, son of Paul Quirk, who's won many titles himself back in the 80s. As we see Mark Burton here from City of Lisburn, 14:29. He jumped in that first round. Yet to see any improvement on that, according to our results. The failure in the 4th round. Wilkinson, that gap is now growing to Kenny. It's about 50 metres back to the Farranfore main valley athlete from Kerry, probably lives near the airport, but at the moment he's been caught out here by Wilkinson, who's got 40-50 metres on him, and we go all the way back to Finn Valley's Brendan Boyce then in 3rd place. So those results coming in, another 14-metre jump from Michael Adajiki, as we see the Tyrconnell man now on screen. Sorry, that's Michael Tony of Lewis Listool AC. We think. Just trying to get an exact idea of that athlete there, as it appears Michael Tony has done all of his jumps. So still in the leading according to our results. 14.40 for Michael Ajiki. Second place, Mark Burton, 14.29. And third place, Joy Benson from Lagan Valley. Callum Wilkinson still leading this one out. Kenny still striding perfectly down the home straight. Just the 18 laps to go for Kenny here. Another yellow card looks to be dished out. It was hard to tell exactly who that was dished out to. I don't think it was Wilkinson, as he already has two. But Kenny back in second as the cleanest run so far. Yet to be yellow carded. Boyce with one, Wilkinson with two, and Glennon with one, as Glennon was passed there by the former world under-20 champion Callum Wilkinson of Great Britain, currently representing Toker AC. Kenny in second, third, pretty much separated by the length of the back straight from Wilkinson back to Boyce in third. Kenny in the middle. They're almost equidistant, first, second and third here at the moment. Fourth place, Cameron Jerome. We see men's 10k athletes filing into the stadium here. Colm Turner, Brothers Pierce AC, a man who once ate porridge for breakfast, lunch and dinner repeatedly for about 6 months before he won the university intervarsity title in 2006. So we see Joy Benson here from Lagan Valley. Will be competing in the universities over the next couple of years. The backwards cap, third place at the moment according to our results.
Yeah, quite kind of casual almost there towards the end of that run-up. Just more of a elastic jumper rather than a speed jumper, I suppose. Callum Wilkinson absolutely tearing it up now as he goes around the bend. Look at the speed of this man. It is astonishing to watch.
It certainly is. And
there is an interesting situation, I guess, around Callum Wilkinson and his participation, and it's as yet a little unclear, but we think he will be eligible to win the national title. We believe, speaking to one of the officials down there, that the rule is to be eligible to win a national title, you have to be living in Ireland for 6 months. And Callum Wilkinson, I believe, does fulfill that requirement, but obviously I'm sure he would have been back and forth to England quite a bit during that time. But we think, anyway, it's being still up for discussion, but we think, as it stands, we think Callum Wilkinson will be winning the gold medal here and taking the title.
Yeah, there's a rumour that Pat Hooper will, as we look to Mark Burton here in the City Lisburn AC vest in the triple jump, 14.29 the first round, and according to our results, still in second place, as Sam Barnes, the photographer, gets a mouthful of sand there for his worries. Boy, yes, Carl, will Pat Hooper dive across the finish line and stop Callum Wilkinson from winning the national title here if we can't figure this out before the end?
Perhaps. He'd have to move pretty quick, though, because Callum Wilkinson is motoring.
Yeah,
again, he was third in the European under-23s last year, so when you're an athlete who's won a world under-20 title and a European under-23 medal, you know you've got the goods to really go on and do something special as a senior, and Callum Wilkinson is an athlete, and you could not have a better man in his corner than Rob Heffernan, a man who's been there, done that, and knows how to coach an athlete to do it, as he did with Brendan Boyce last year, 6th in the world. An impressive coaching performance from Rob Heffernan, as it was his own competitive days. Then further back, David Kenny, the emerging star of Irish race walking, is just coming around that bend there, probably about 70 to 80 metres behind as we look at it, and he is well on his way. Brendan Boyce is starting to hunt down David Kenny. Look at him there, the 50k man. He doesn't get out of bed unless it's a 35k effort every day, as we go back to the triple jump. And
according to our results, this is going to be our national senior champion here from Dundalgan AC, Michael Adajiki. So he's jumped 14.40 in the third round, and he's holding off the pressure of Mark Burton, who jumped 14.29 in that first round, and then Joy Benson back in third with 14.20. And the athlete that I was calling Michael Toney the entire way through, or sorry, Sheldon Romeo, I believe that was actually Michael Toney from Listool. And Listool's Michael Toney I was calling Colm Mann, just to clarify, as we were unsure on that Listool vest, which we've never seen before in our entire lives.
Exactly. Lots of random clubs emerging and getting on top steps of the podiums is great to see. Have we spoiled the men's discus yet?
I spoiled it hugely earlier on.
That's excellent. I just wanted to say that we are teeing up the footage. We're going to bring you those top throws very soon. I had a chat with our, spoiler alert, winner, Colin Quirk, and That'll be going up very soon on social media platforms for Athletics Ireland. Yeah, he came 3 weeks ago, start of the month, he came to Ireland. First competition this season, wasn't sure what to expect, but an excellent win with 55 metres. He was quarantining down in Offaly for the last few weeks. So obviously a few nervous moments there as well before that lockdown was lifted. But all is well, Colin Quirk. And this is a 100% record he has. Every time he comes home, he wins Irish Nationals.
Yeah. And I think this is the very strange finish to this from the Listool man. I think that says Listool on the back of his jersey there. I believe it does. That's Listool AC's Michael Tony there, 12.93 in those final rounds for him. And of course Callum Wilkinson still leading this one out. Yes.
Yeah, he really is. It's world-class race walking we're seeing here in Santry. And it's a great boost for him to have committed to come over to be based in Cork, to be coached by Rob Heffernan. But what a boost it is too for David Kenny, a young athlete, and Brendan Boyce even, to have a man of this speed knocking around and to work with on a daily basis. Such a help to have someone like that. They really do push themselves. They are one of the smallest but the strongest high performance units you will find in Irish sport. That race walking setup they have under Rob Heffernan in Cork. Everything they've done is done to a T. Nothing is left to chance. Whether it's any backup, physio, strength conditioning, rest, recovery, it is every box you could think of ticking is ticked. And they're a model for everyone else. And it doesn't even matter what event. Those race walkers do things to a world-class level. A lot of times without the support, maybe the financial backing other sports might have, but they do it brilliantly. As we see, I think is that Joshua Knox, I think, in the men's triple jump.
Yeah, I think that is Joshua Knox, who's in 6th place. Michael Tony in 7th. That is Knox there in 6th place. He's jumped at 13.66, so he's not too far off the medals in this one. Jai Benson, though, 14.20 at the moment. He's improved on his 14.18. He's got slightly closer to our leader, Michael Edjiki of Dundalgan AC. That was a 13.33 jump for Joshua Knox. We see Brendan Boyce there starting to close that gap on David Kenny. In fact, he looks like he's going to get by the young Farn Four main Valley athlete. Boyce up on his shoulder now, and Boyce going by. Boyce breezing by, in fact, would be the headline I would write if I was writing that headline, but I'm not. You're the journalist, Carl. Thoughts?
Journalists don't write the headlines, Ronan, as you should well know, for a man well vexed in the world of journalism. That is the role of a sub-editor. Thank you. Moving on and back to the race walk. Brendan Boyce is swept into 2nd place. He breezes on by, as you might say. Just to discuss here, there is a record up for grabs. Ronan, I feel like you want to respond.
Yeah, I just want to point out that when you wrote that article for, was it the Times last week or the Independent? I don't know who you write for. But, I came up with the headline, Field Day for Bandon, and it was unused. It went unused, Cathal.
Yeah, I believe it was Tuttle brings the hammer down.
Terrible work.
Shocking.
Who
direct
was that?
all your
Call him out.
Direct all your complaints to Aidan O'Hara, an exceptional writer and sub-editor with Independent.ie and Sunday Independent and whatnot. But to get back to my point, Rob Heffernan holds the 3,000 metre walk record at under 23 level for Ireland, the 10,000 metre walk record, and the 20,000 metre walk record, 20k we'll call it, and the 10k record is 40.16. So can that be challenged by David Kenny today? I think they're coming through, and it's going to be very low 40 minutes anyways to come through with 13 laps to go.
Yeah, you'd imagine he won't be far away, Cathal, and Colin Mahon isn't too far away from the medals in this one. The Tyrconnell AC athlete, he's jumped 13.85 so far. And Caelan O'Connell then as well, the other Tyrconnell AC athlete, has jumped 13.77. They're battling it out there for that 4th place. I think that was, in fact, Colin O'Callaghan there jumping in that one. As you see Callum Wilkinson storming away here. He's now got up to about a 150 metre lead on that group of Boyce, that pairing of Boyce and Kenny. Kenny just drafting now on Boyce and hoping to get, as I said, down towards that low 40 minutes. You'd expect Wilkinson to be under the 40 minutes, but Kenny looking to just get, if he can break the 40-minute barrier, he'll have broken that under 23 record with plenty to spare, but you'd expect he'd have to be a little bit closer to Wilkinson at this stage in order to be able to break that record, but he won't be far away. So we're into the medalists now on the triple jump as well. Jai Benson there. He's jumped 14.20 so far. That was in the last round. He's got into his final round here. He is currently in 3rd place. So there he is. He's got the white flag. It's been measured. So he is in 3rd place. He's got to get up and get ahead of Mark Burton, who's jumped 14.29, and Michael Adejiki, who's jumped 14.40. Wilkinson still absolutely in a class of his own here. As you see on the back straight, the talk race, the athlete still gaining even more ground on that pairing. As we see Mark Burton here, 2nd place from... Apologies, now gone to 3rd place. And I'll tell you why in a moment. And he will stay in 3rd place as he's ran through that. He's jumped 14.29, and Jai Benson has jumped 14.53, giving him a 13 centimetre lead going into the final round on Michael Adejiki. They call it clutch jumping, and that was clutch jumping from Jai Benson there. Just to talk you through his work here over the rounds: 13.65, 12.28, 14.18, put him into the mix for the medals. 13.85, 14.20, and in the final round, and it's a legal jump, 14.53 for Jai Benson. Massive jump, putting all the pressure now on the long-time leader. He jumped 14.36 in his first round, 14.13, 14.40, 14 and 14.40 again. It's been an amazing series of jumps here from Michael Adejiki, but will he be outdone by Jai Benson with that miracle jump in the final round? Adejiki from Dundalgan. 3rd place is Mark Burton, 14.29 in the first round. He will stay in 3rd, but will Adejiki jump to victory here and bring the gold back up the M1 to Dundalgan AC? He's got to find 13 centimetres from somewhere. He's already jumped 14.40 twice, 14.36 once in this series of jumps. If you took the average, he'd be in the lead. Storms down the runway here. He's got to find 13 centimetres. Will he find it? Looked a little bit tired and laboured on that jump, but we'll see very shortly. It's a white flag. Will it be surrender from Michael Adejiki, or will it be glory? Has to find 13 centimetres. He'll win if he finds the 13 centimetres. He's got the 2nd best jump on Jai Benson, who congratulates him there. So hopefully we'll get an idea, Carl, of this winning jump here. Did Adejiki get it? They're discussing it. Jai Benson and Adejiki, 1 and 2.
A tense time for all concerned. Rivals fraternising as friends.
And I have the result, Cathal.
Tenter hooks here.
Adejiki stays in 2nd place, 14.32. Benson with 14.53 in that final round jump. He's strutting down there. You can see on the left of your screen. I've never seen a man strut so much. Wins that triple jump. Jai Benson of Lagan Valley AC, 14.53 in the final round. Pulls it out. Final round jump. National Senior Champion.
Clutch.
Certainly, Carl. Certainly the definition of clutch. Jai Benson there. Tremendous performance. Wilkinson still at the front of this field, though, in the men's race walk. And in 2nd place, we have Boyce. And in 3rd place, we have Kenny, who's now lost a couple of yards back back from Boyce there in 2nd. That's Glennon there, Matthew Glennon of Mullingar Harriers there, just on the outside of lane 1, just making way for the athletes coming through at a quicker pace. Boyce in 2nd and Kenny in 3rd place. It's nearly 200 metres to that, our leader here, Callum Wilkinson, who is just showing how good he is, Cathal.
He really is very, very good. I wonder if he has an Irish grandmother or father or cousin.
We can figure out some way of getting him in, surely.
Passport. Brexit. We'll Brexit him on into an Irish vest.
Tony Cascarino was adopted, I think, or well, I hope that he knows that, because if he didn't, I've just let it slip here on this on this live stream. But I believe he was adopted, or it was a foster parent, and he actually has no Irish blood. I will clarify that one, but I don't think Tony Cascarino is actually Irish, but played for Ireland through his adopted grandmother, I think. I'm going to clarify that as you comment.
There we go. Is there any old women out there who'll adopt Callum Wilkinson? That is the question.
Doesn't need to be old women. It can be us, Cal. We could adopt him as a very modern couple, myself and yourself, and take Callum Wilkinson into our home, and he could walk to victory for Ireland.
We'll have a hand in that victory. And a hand in marriage, perhaps.
Why not, Cal? Why not?
Don't tell your fiancé. Leanne, if you're watching, we apologise.
She certainly is not watching. And we get a red card there for Joe Mooney, and he's been thrown off the track, and he throws his hands up. Will he be going into the sin bin? I think he will.
He is. And interestingly, he threw his hands up and went, drat. But he wasted valuable time in getting into the sin bin there. So we'll tee that up. There he is. He's just gone in. He's leaned on the bar like a man who's been waiting too long to order his drink and is starting to get cranky. And he is not happy. So I think over 10K, I think it's 45 seconds or 60 seconds. One of the two will be his time out, his time in the bad boy corner.
And I think Matthew Glennon there, as he was going by, almost wagged his finger at him and said, "You've been a bold boy. Red card for you. Stay in the pen, friend." But Mooney, that transition from throwing his hands into the air to actually getting into the pen could have cost him 2 to 3 seconds. So we'll see how he gets on there over this 10K distance. As I know that Tony Cascarino's middle name is Guy, and there's one guy at the front of this field, and that's Callum Wilkinson storming away here. He's a good 150 metres to the good over Brendan Boyce. Third place then, David Kenny from Farnforth Main Valley. He's lost about 20 metres over his last 2 laps or so to Brendan Boyce, but Wilkinson is looking absolutely supreme here with 8 laps to run, or in fact walk.
I'm just still reeling from the revelation that Tony Cascarino's middle name is Guy. A fun guy.
I think you're just mostly impressed with the way I managed to segue from that back into the race walk.
Absolutely. We see athletes warming up for the men's 10K. Brendan Boyce is at the crown of the bend as we see him ripping around there, and the pain is etched all over his face. It was one of the great days in Irish sport in 2019, watching Brendan Boyce finish 6th in the world over 50K. He is an athlete with a measurable amount of talent, but really what defines Brendan Boyce is his work ethic. As a junior, you wouldn't have picked him out as an athlete who's going to finish top 6 in the world, but he got up there. You wouldn't have even picked him out as an athlete who finished top 20 in the world, but through sheer persistence and sheer hard slog, Brendan Boyce has elevated himself to become an Olympic medal contender. This will feel like a sprint to him, 10K. Very different energy system and everything else that will be in operation here for Brendan Boyce. But that evening in Doha last year, it was thankfully not as awful an evening as the women's marathon was. It was a little bit fresher for that men's 50K, but it was still deeply oppressive in the desert heat. And no better man when the going gets tough. Brendan Boyce tends to get going. The celebrations were quite wild in the middle of the night after he came across the line. There was many an ice bucket challenge done, being dumped over the heads, and Rob Heffernan, of course, his coach. A different kind of satisfaction for him these days, but he looked just as happy as he ever did as a competitor. But now he's got another great athlete under his wing in Callum Wilkinson.
He certainly does. And just to update you on that Tony Cascarino situation, in 2000 he was told that his mother was adopted, and therefore he was actually no relative to his Irish grandfather, but she was entered in the Irish births register by the government, the foreign births register, so therefore he became eligible to play for Ireland, and he was always eligible. There was never an issue, but the Sunday Mirror had an exclusive about it in the early 2000s, causing much controversy. There was no controversy here about who's going to be the winner of this race. Callum Wilkinson striding perfectly down the back straight. Mooney has been released from his cage and looks to have retired from the race, Cahill, even though he's spent some time in that pen. I don't see Joe Mooney out there. Wilkinson still in the lead. Boyce now in second, and Kenny looks to be rallying slightly. He's gaining a little bit on Boyce. Said no sign of Joe Mooney, who got that red card and spent some time in solitary confinement in that pen.
I was reading an interesting study the other day that came to the conclusion that lockdown was more detrimental to mental health than being imprisoned.
I thought you were going to say that the race walk.
Yeah, it was a very interesting study. Well, I guess that time out sin bin there is very similar to either imprisonment or a lockdown.
Quite possibly shortened, however, 45 seconds. But Joe Mooney has disappeared on us. I wasn't keeping an eye on him whilst he was in the pen. But he seems to have disappeared. We might get an update on where Joe Mooney actually is. Glennon is still in 5th place here, and it is Jerome there in 4th. But no doubt about the leaders in this one. Wilkinson, now it looks to be about 200 metres of a difference back to Boyce, and in 3rd place, Kenny still striding well. You'd imagine that he's going to be a little bit outside that 40 minute barrier as Glennon gets, after he's almost laughing at Joe Mooney. He now is in the pen. If we might take a quick look to the left and see what is happening here, as Boise also gets put into the pen. It's no longer solitary confinement. We've got two men in the pen here. They're not even going to talk to each other. There's just so much angst as David Kenny strides by. He goes into second place. Boyce, head bowed, in the pen, and Glennon in there with him. Glennon's going to be released back into the wild very shortly, but Boyce is not looking happy as Kenny is striding into second place here with 6 laps left to walk. Wilkinson still in the lead. Wilkinson will go by and see his good friend Brendan Boyce looking forlorn there in the pen call.
Yeah, it's a cruel place to be. And as we can see there, he's just keeping his legs moving, does a bit of a stretch. Boyce, I think, knows better. He's just like, drat. I'll just stand around. And I guess there is an advantage in terms of this. It essentially now becomes a glorified workout for Brendan Boyce. Over 10 kilometres, he's had, 6 laps to go. So really you've had a 7 or an 8k effort, and 60 seconds recovery, and then another 2 or 3k effort for Brendan Boyce. He's just doing a stretch there and waiting for the go time. He gets it. Jig jogs back into his race walking technique and off he goes. So the result today will mean absolutely nothing to Brendan Boyce. The medal may not even mean all that much to him, but what he'll be looking for is a good hard effort. And you know what? It's great to see these athletes supporting Irish nationals. Even when stuff like this happens, they could easily throw their hat at it and say, I'm not coming next year. Rob Heffernan was once disqualified at Irish nationals. He still showed up. There's much bigger things on the agenda for all these men. They're truly world-class operators. But you know what? They decide, I need to support this event. I need to be here. It matters for the sport, it matters for the fans, it matters for the young people watching. So hats off to all the athletes who've done what needs to be done to be here for Irish nationals. We've seen people like Colin Quirk came here weeks in advance. I just spoke to him a while ago and he mentioned how important it is for him. Can't get home every year due to work and other commitments, but he travelled 5,000 miles to be here at Irish nationals, and well done to all these athletes, and I'm sure Brendan Boyce as well. Tip of the cap to him for coming out, even though if today certainly won't be the result he wanted.
Certainly not, and he's lost, we call it a good 200 metres up to Kenny, so you wouldn't imagine that there'll be much change here over the final couple of laps, as Wilkinson still in the lead. Kenny is now in second and Boyce in third, but we saw how Boyce, it's almost like a Formula 1 type situation, a bad pit stop there. You know, they took a while to put the tyres back on and he didn't get the clutch in gear, but he's now in third place. Could we see Kenny, who's in fairness has a very clean walk so far, no yellow cards for Kenny, but
and as we saw what Wilkinson passed the line there, it was 33:30 on the clock, and with only a mile to go, 4 laps to go, this man is going sub 6 minute miling. Just think about that. I know there's a lot of runners out there who'll be going out for runs. Probably most of us in the world might be going 7, 8, 9 minute miles on our daily runs. The quicker among us might be go the odd 6 minute mile every day. This man is walking quicker than 6 minute mile, and I think he certainly is on for a sub 40 minute 10k here, which is truly outstanding walking. His PB over 10,000 meters is 40:29. That British under 20 10 kilometer record on the road is 40:30, and Callum Wilkinson breaking new ground here as a race walker on a very windy day in Morton Stadium.
he certainly is. He's actually starting to catch David Kenny there, the second place athlete from Farnformer in Veale. He's gaining on him with every yard. I'm sure when he saw with a mile to go there, Wilkinson would have renewed his efforts. Second place is Kenny and third place is Brendan Boyce, who looks to be gaining very, very slightly on Kenny. So if he can get up there, and he's going to have to hope that Kenny gets put in the pen himself, and we could see it all change over the last couple of laps here. You can never know what's going to happen in the race walk. Wilkinson, though, looks like even if he was put in a pen for quite some time, he'd still be released back into the wild and back into first place.
Like a raging bull coming out at the rodeo. Although rodeos is horses, isn't it? My analogies make no sense. Let's move swiftly on as Callum Wilkinson comes through with 3 laps to walk, and just 35 minutes and 8 seconds on the clock. Will he challenge 39 minutes here? Perhaps. No, he's going to be just outside 39 minutes.
Speaking of rodeos, I don't know if I told you, but last summer I attended my second ever rodeo, Cathal, and I explained something to another attendee at the rodeo.
Where was your rodeo?
I was at Calgary Stampede, and previous to that, in 2001, I attended Williams Lake rodeo, which is the second best rodeo in Canada. And I turned to the person and went, "This isn't my first rodeo." Like that one, Carl?
Did you get a chuckle?
Oh, absolutely. How could you not?
I agree. That gave me a chuckle.
Certainly, but a K to go here. Wilkinson, it's no laughing matter for him. He is making his way to the finish here. And behind him then is still Kenny and Boyce in third. Fourth place looks to be Jerome from Dundrum South Dublin, and Glennon then back in fifth. Very hard to tell at the moment. We've got officials putting up their hands here. It's like a game of charades down here as we try and figure out who has how many laps to go. But Wilkinson knows he's the man in the lead.
Wilkinson is away with this. Callum looks to be the king of Irish and English race walking right now. Well, I'm sure Tom Bosworth will have something to say about that over 20 kilometres, but I think he might have retired briefly over lockdown and then come back again. Tom Bosworth, excellent British race walker as well. But Callum Wilkinson, really, he's the man on the ascendancy at the moment, and we're seeing a transcendent performance here by Callum Wilkinson. 2 to go, 36:40 on the clock. He's going to smash 40 minutes, is Callum Wilkinson. And just for context, a lot of times typically the 20 kilometres at global championships will be won in and around the 120 mark. Typically, if you're in around the 118, 119, you'll be getting among the medals. I think the world record is at around 116 at the moment. And this man, over 10 kilometres on a howler of a windy day in Santry. Apart from the wind, it's actually reasonable temperatures. It's quite mild, cool, dry, crucially. But Callum Wilkinson, he's turning in a solo performance here that would have him up to halfway anyway, up there with the very best in the world at the 20 kilometre race walk. Over time, he'll mature. You can be sure of that. Stays injury free, Callum Wilkinson will mature into a truly world-class race walker. Anyone who does it at world under 20 level has the talent to go all the way in the sport. And I think it says a lot about the measure of Callum Wilkinson's commitment, that he clearly has the commitment to move countries, move to a new city in Cork, the true capital, I suppose. Ronan Duggan, you may contest that.
Absolutely not. Probably one of the greatest places in the world. People think about Rio de Janeiro, Barcelona, all these places, but doesn't really hold a candle to Cork whatsoever, Carl.
Fully agree. As a Dennehy of, Limerick.
We
Limerick
named the cross
raised,
after you.
but yeah, we did. They did. Callum Wilkinson takes the bell and he laps David Kenny. When you're lapping an athlete as progressive and as classy, and even an international level as David Kenny, you know you're having a heck of a day. And Callum Wilkinson is having one heck of a day here at Toker, man. And again, like we said, if you missed it earlier, we said the rule is that you have to be living in Ireland for 6 months to win a national title. We believe he fulfills that requirement. There may be a further discussion to be had, but right now, I think it's safe to say we can safely crown Callum Wilkinson, or we're about to, unless the red card comes his way and he gets thrown in the bad boy bin with 80 metres to go. Callum Wilkinson is on his way to the senior men's 10k title. Brendan Boyce is coming through. He's got 2 laps to go. Of course, that would be 1 or so laps to go if it weren't for that timeout. He'll be contesting with David Kenny for the silver. But David Kenny now has been left behind. And David Kenny himself will be really up there at international level. He'll be probably taking the baton from the likes of Brendan Boyce whenever Brendan Boyce decides to hang up the boots and carrying on that mantle.
Wilkinson's going to be very close to this 40-second barrier. You'd imagine he'll be just outside it, but he is coming into the home straight. He's got 35 seconds to spare here. He should just about make it. Wilkinson is storming into the home straight here, and we will try and see. I suspect he will get under that 40-minute barrier. It's going to be a classy performance here from the Toker AC athlete as Glennon ends up in the sin bin again.
And I think this time he's just like, he's done. But we'll focus on the winner for now, because Callum Wilkinson up to the line. He's going to go under 40 minutes, 39 minutes and 52 seconds. And like a proud adopted Corkman, holds up the vest of Toker AC. Out for the photographers, Sam Barnes. You'll probably see that. And Morgan as well over there from Info. You'll see that in the papers tomorrow and up on the Athletics Ireland website. A great picture and a truly great performance from Callum Wilkinson, 23 years old. He is your Irish champion.
Yeah, as they might say in Cork, that was a phenomenal performance from Callum Wilkinson. Second place is going to be David Kenny, the Kerryman. So it's all Munster here. And third place then will be Finn Valley's Brendan Boyce. He storms up the home straight here. He's got a lap to go. Brendan Boyce, man from Donegal. Second place is that David Kenny. Was hoping to get in around the 40-minute barrier himself, but unfortunately hasn't walked as well as he would have liked today, but still will be relatively happy here with a silver medal performance. And I said, a very clean run, technically very proficient for David Kenny here, Farranfore Main Valley. 180 metres left for him, walking to a silver medal here at the Irish Life National Senior Championships.
Yeah, it's great stuff from the Farranfore man, David Kenny. So progressive in recent years. He's only 21 years old. And remember what he said, many who in the know about this game believe that he is currently ahead of Rob Heffernan where Rob was at his point in his career. Shown so much improvement since coming under the guidance of Rob. And he is really an athlete on the up. And remember, Rob Heffernan, I think, was 36 or so when he won that world title in Moscow in 2013. Many more hard years in the making to turn David Kenny into what he wants to be in the future, which is an international medalist. And he's well on his way. The 21-year-old up to the line with a national senior medal. And that's a very good time, 41.38 for him. That is, I think, a big personal best over 10,000 metres, albeit a little off the national record of his coach and mentor, Rob Heffernan.
Certainly with an excellent performance, and Brendan Boyston about to lead into the home straight. You can see Callum Wilkinson there on screen, a proud Corkman now, the adopted home of Callum Wilkinson, and David Kenny just across the border there in Kerry for second place. Brendan Boyce now, Finn Valley AC, looking up the home straight. He's going to be just outside, about 42.20 here, I would say, in the end. Boyce, so an excellent performance for him. Caught by that 40.20 for him. They're caught by that red card he received earlier for the lifting, I would suspect. Not the two-footed challenge he put in on David Kenny.
Absolutely not. Sick fade as well from David Kenny today. True championship haircut, you'd have to say.
Yeah, David Kenny is looking absolutely tremendous.
As we've got Boyce there in shot, and he is squatting down in pain. Self-inflicted pain, and there'll be a level of lactate in his blood right now and flowing around his system that he won't be too used to.
Certainly, but we saw some high levels here in the triple jump. Mark Burton in third, 14.29. Michael Adajiki, long-term leader, led the whole way through the competition, 14.40. And then Jai Benson in the last round, the Lagan Valley AC athlete, 14.53 for the win. Clutch jump, as Cahill said, in the final round, 14.53. He jumped 14.20 in the fifth round, so he was improving. But a fantastic final jump from the Lagan Valley AC man. Cahill sprinting down to get have a chat with our winner there, Jai Benson, and probably with Callum Wilkinson as well. So you'll see all that on the Athletics Ireland Twitter later today, as you see the fourth place athlete coming through there. That is Jerome Caprice. I think I called him Cameron Jerome earlier on, who I think used to play up front for Bournemouth, I think, when they were playing in the Championship. So that is not him. That is Jerome Caprice of Dundrum, South Dublin. He's currently in fourth. Glennon has gone. He was in fifth. And Mooney, who was in sixth for most of the race, has also disengaged from the race. So we'll get an idea of who our minor placings are in this men's race walk. That looks to be Ryan Roberts there, I think, in fifth place then. And in sixth place is the other Mullingar Harriers AC man, Colin Walsh. So that is on screen now. Jerome Caprice, the fourth placer from this men's race walk, the DSD man. Still walking well here, with about 150 metres left to walk. We've got quite a number of laps left, 5 laps left for the likes of Ryan Roberts there, and 5 laps left for Colin Walsh of Mullingar Harriers here, out competing in the National Senior Championships. 5 laps to go for those, at least 2k left. Which a fair old distance. It's harder on the shins, as we see Jerome Caprice, Dundrum, South Dublin. He's coming up to the finish here now. Still striding out very hard on the shins. A grueling event is the men's race walk. As we see, we won't see if he was waving up here, our men's triple jump champion, Jai Benson there, struggling hugely to put that jumper on. But has achieved it in the end, just like he achieved the win in the men's triple jump. As you can see there, he's struggling with that sleeve somewhat. And he looks to put it in through the neck part, which is obviously a classic mistake that we all have at some point. I often also put the coffee back into the fridge and put the milk in the cupboard. Another classic error when you're a bit sleepy, but no sleeping on the job from Jai Benson today. Massive final jump. Woke up in that last round and got the win, and you'll see that interview on Athletics Ireland. Man known for wearing pink as often as he can. See there, that's the Mullingar Harriers at AC athlete on your screen right now. Drone Caprice has finished, and that is Colin Walsh from Mullingar Harriers. He's got 4.5 laps left to go. So up after this, you're going to have the men's 10K race of running, not walking. And it is a class field. Ryan Roberts there and Colin Walsh on your screen. Ryan Roberts and Colin Walsh have 4 laps left to go. We've got our entry list here. Not all of these athletes will compete in this, but we'll give you an idea of who entered the race at the very least. Edmonton Levy from Sligo AC. He's had a very good national senior championship so far, and he's coaching Darren McElhenney to the win in the men's 5K, and plenty of other athletes dotted around as well. Dave Mansfield, the marathoner from Clonmel AC. Owen Everard ran a sub 4 minute mile on this track in the Martin Games, won the national senior 1500 meters here in the Martin Games as well. In Martin Stadium as well, a couple of years back. Sean Doyle from North Cork AC. Daniel Stone, the young athlete from Raheny Shamrock, Belvedere College schoolboy, was 4th in the Irish Schools cross country, which occurred about 5 days before the schools closed this year. So was lucky to get that race in, and led Belvedere College to the Irish Schools title for the first time in their history. Previously, I got the event. The previous time they had a chance of winning the title, the event was called off due to foot and mouth. So thought their luck was going to run out again this year, but they managed to get the win. Declan Power then of Clonmel Harriers AC, also in this one. Colm Turner, Brothers Pierce AC, a Limerick man, the man who won the 2006 InterVarsity title in St. Clair's and DCU, so he'll have good memories in this area. DCU graduate himself, was a duathlete as well for a while, and very, very competitive in that event on bike and on road. Paul O'Donnell from Dundrum, South Dublin. He ran a very good 5K recently at Dublin Graded, and was also competing last weekend in the 5K here. So an athlete in tremendous shape. Paul O'Donnell, the under 23. Conor Duffy from Glasgow Harriers. He's in that as well. He's a former national senior 5K champion. Owen Totten from Newcastle District. Regular competitor over 5, 10 and half marathon. Conor McCauley from Veale AC, who Cathal has an extensive range of information on, which he'll tell you about later. Paul Minogue from Clonmel AC. Sean Tobin, our second place athlete in a fantastic race and wonderfully called here last week at the National Senior Championships. He was second to Paul Robinson. He's hoping to use that speed to good effect here over the last couple of laps against the likes of John Travers. Kieran McKenna from Star of the CAC, a Gormanstown College graduate, and he has been competing well over the marathon distance over the last couple of years, so dropping down here to the 10K and hoping that he will have the strength to last. Jerry Ford from Staley Olympic. Mick Clohessy, a Rio Olympian in the marathon from Raheny Shamrock AC. Very strong athlete and a very unique looking athlete. Long hair, sunglasses. You will recognize him. You'll see him straight away on your feed. There'll be no messing up the names in this one with Mick Clohessy, as he's a very unique athlete. Hugh Armstrong, the Ballina man. I think Providence College, Cathal? Yes, a Providence College Friar is Hugh Armstrong, or was Hugh Armstrong. He's back now, and he's hoping to do well over 10 kilometres here. Eric Keogh, one of the few men that's broken 30 minutes so far this year. He won the Dublin Graded meet here, which I think was incorporated in the Dublin Championships earlier this year. Tom Fitzpatrick, who was in that 5K final just last week from Tala AC. You see his good friend Kevin Moriarty of Tall Guys fame is not competing here in the 10K. Evan Byrne of Toker AC running in this one, I think coached by Dave McCarthy these days. Brian Marr. Brian won't mind us calling him one of the elder statesmen of Irish athletics, but he's been in the mix for teams for Eurocross, for 5K titles, for 10K titles for quite some time now. Owns and runs a farm in Kilkenny, an extensive farm, many acres. So if you're looking for land, Brian Maher is your man, and does that as his day job, but comes out here and still competes well into his he's over 30, let's put it that way. Owen Taggart from Clondiff Harriers AC in this one as well. Niall Corbin from Dunboyne AC. David Scanlon from Rathfarnham, Walkinstown and District, I think. John Travers, second in the 5k here last week from Dunor Harriers. Thomas Sherlock from Clondiff AC, Clondiff Harriers AC. Stephen Conroy from Selbridge AC. Brian Lenihan, Blackrock AC. David McGlynn from Waterford went well in that 5k as well. Barry O'Donovan, coached by Ian O'Sullivan there of the Cork Track Club, but he runs for Leaville AC. And Roy O'Connor from North Cork, and Conan McConaughey of North Belfast Harriers. So not all of these athletes will make it to the line, I suspect, but still an extensive field there of 32 to pick from. Hopefully we'll have as many of them as possible as we come up here to a lap to go. And we'll see on the podium, third place was Brendan Boyce from Finn Valley. Second place, David Kenny. And first place was Callum Wilkinson with a sub 40-minute walk as he jokingly waves to the crowd of essentially us from the live stream, all 5 of us doing the live stream here. It's the entirety of the crowd that he's waving to, but jokingly. But Callum Wilkinson with the win there. Kenny in second, and Boyce, who got that red card and ended up in the sin bin. That cost him that 30 seconds, 45 seconds or so, gave David Kenny the chance to swoop into that silver medal position. But 3 close rivals and friends there. The race walking fraternity is a close fraternity. Only they know the misery that they have to endure. As Cahill makes his way out now to chat to our winner, Callum Wilkinson. You'll see that on the Athletics Ireland Twitter. And we will show you, we'll give you an idea of, we've got 200 metres left to go here in this men's walk. That is Colin Walsh on your screen. Behind him is Ryan Roberts with 300 metres left to go. So we're coming to a conclusion here of this men's race walk. And as I said, we've got this incredible men's 10k about to get on stream very shortly. So big field in that one. Most of the protagonists still there and ready to get stuck in. 150 metres left to go for Colin Walsh here of Mullingar Harriers. Walking away, he is in 5th place at the moment. Ryan Roberts back in 6th. So Walsh into the home straight for the final time. He'll be hoping to get back to Mullingar and get into a bath with some Epsom salts, I suspect, and maybe have a bit of a lie down, because this race walk business is no fun. It is difficult on the bones, the joints and the shins. But Smith has a look easy here. He's in 5th place in this National Senior Championships. Ryan Roberts is going to be end up 6th here if he can navigate this last part. Smith up to the line, done and dusted, hits the watch. 6th place is going to be Ryan Roberts. He's now entering the home straight as Smith receives, or Walsh, sorry, receives his just desserts. As an athlete gets shouted at for running through the line, which is a cardinal sin on athletic circles, running through the line while warming up. So we'll have all sorts of manic situations here now as they try and figure out the results on this one when someone went through the line. But Ryan Roberts is about to go through the line in 6th place. Roberts from Sligo AC. 10 metres to go. In fact, apologies, he has a lap to go. I hope he didn't hear me there. I hope he didn't think he was about to finish. Roberts with 400 metres left to walk. As we see the men's 10k warming up there on the left-hand side of your track. I might just take a quick look at those as Ryan Roberts goes into his final lap. You can see here, we'll try and pick out, there's Brian Maher just on the bottom of the shot. Owen Everard there in the centre shot from Kilkenny City Harriers. Thomas Patrick up the back there in the red and yellow of Tala AC. Connor Duffy in there as well. So really, really strong field of this one. There's Sean Tobin as well, 5:05. He is, along with a man just in 4:99 there, John Travers. 2 men who got silver medals now last weekend. Only one can get gold here. It can't be any closer than it was last week for Sean Tobin. So who will be the king of the 10k here? 6 miles on the track. How will they go? Travers. Man has won titles over 1500. Not 100% sure if he's won a 5k title. Silver last week. Won the indoor 3k. Will he be trying to add a 10k title here? There's Hugh Armstrong just coming into your shot there as well. We'll go back and see Ryan Roberts over this last 150 metres. As Ryan Roberts walks his final 150 metres of the day. Owen Totten there of Newcastle and District in the background. And some race walking officials walking away from the track here. David Mansfield then of Clonmel AC in the background there as well. Colm Turner, 2006 InterVarsity champion, a man who loves porridge. Just in the background there, Brothers Pierce AC, a Limerick man. And another Limerick man is going to join me here for the last 80 metres of Ryan Roberts' race walk. Sligo AC's Ryan Roberts. So we get to the finish of this one. 50 metres to go now for Ryan Roberts. Emmett Dunleavy down there in that 10k field as well. Said it's been a great weekend, or 2 weeks of action here for Emmett Dunleavy. So it's all bonus territory from here. There's 20 metres to go. Ryan Roberts from Sligo AC finishes out this men's race walk. And he'll be glad to be finished.
Exactly, it's a long way around in those wins. And 25 laps of the track is no easy feat to run and walk with the technical expertise or the need to technically be on your mark, I suppose, on every step is difficult. Callum Wilkinson just told me he had 2 yellow cards, I guess, against him, so he was close to getting his time out himself. Thankfully, he didn't. Unlike the others, he was just saying, you know, a lot of the judges here mightn't be that familiar with the way he race walks, I guess. It's a different kind of technique. And indeed, a lot of these lads, they do obviously push the boundaries when it comes to
they were running,
perfecting their technique. Running to the naked eye is all that matters. That's the only way you'll transgress. Of course, every good race walker does leave the ground with both feet, but it's whether or not that's detectable by the human eyes, of course. A lot of people tend to shout about the race walkers, going, "Oh, you took a picture of them. They've their legs off the ground." And it's like, yes,
it's
they're allowed.
Impossible not to.
They're allowed to have their both feet off the ground once it's not obvious to the human eye. But obviously, that's a very subjective measurement as well. But that'll all go away in the future because they're bringing in chip technology in a few years' time. That will, of course, change the game, I suppose, in the opposite way to the Vaporflies have changed the game on the roads. It will make the performances obviously worse.
And how's that going to work, Al? Are they still allowed to leave the ground, just only to a certain amount?
They're not allowed to leave the ground at all, I think, in the future.
We're actually going to show the men's discus here, the throws event, one earlier by Colm Quirk. And the top 3 throws from this. And we'll come back to that men's 10k. So here is Michael Healy of Veale AC. He threw 44.04 in the first round. Massive throw to begin the competition. Just slightly out to the left there of that sector, but a big throw from Healy. Next up was Owen Sheridan from Clonmel Harriers AC, working in cement earlier this year, packed it in. He won't be moving in cement here. He's going to launch this 52-22 from Owen Sheridan, the young man He's from Mullingar originally, definitely from Westmeath, competing for the Clonmel Harriers club here in Santry. And then our winner, Mr. Quirk, with a huge throw, 3 meters he had to spare on Owen Sheridan. It's Colin Quirk from Crusaders AC, 55.50. He's a man who threw 55.24, 55.45 and 55.50. Final throw to win the competition. This is his final throw. He's taking his time here. He's almost caressing the discus there as he gets ready. 396 on the singlet. Crusaders AC is the club. You can see there, powerful throw, really top class throw from Colin Quirk. He's happy with that. Strolls off, says, "Yeah, that's it. There's an old national title in the bag for myself." Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I know he was out training in Greystones there recently and throwing very far alongside Dave Sweeney, the national throws coach. But here we have the men's 10k, one of the most exciting events. A lot of non-athletics aficionados may be thinking, 10k, we've just watched 15k of race walking. That's a lot of long distance. Surely you can't make us watch 10,000 meters of running here, but we are going to do that. Absolutely, because this is going to be one of the races of the weekend. Very hard to tell there. We've been asked for predictions. We can't give them. We can't try and change the result here, you know, but it's going to be the likes of Owen Everard, Hugh Armstrong, John Travers, Sean Tobin, Conor Duffy, national 5k champion about 2 years back. great kick finish to win that one. Hugh Armstrong from Ballina there, the Providence Friar. Mick Lozzie even, the marathoner, getting stuck in here as well. Eric Keogh there, he's got a hat on in the background, it's just off of your shot there. Dave McGlynn as well, the young athlete from Waterford. And Eric Keogh, you can see they're just coming into shot. The Dunno Harriers man, he's got one of the fastest times this year. Tom Fitz as well, the Tala AC man. So serious field here. Paul O'Donnell can't be discounted either, the athlete from DSD. And I said young Daniel Stone in there, the schoolboy, running over 10k. Planned on running this earlier in the year. Planned on running it pretty much all summer. And obviously with the coronavirus affecting some of the track work needed, was hoping to go after that record set by Frank Greeley, the junior record of 30:17. You won't be too far off it today if all goes to plan, but certainly hoping to break that world junior standard of 31 minutes. We have a thumbs up there from Stone to the crowd here. We'll see how he goes over 6 miles. Emmett Dunleavy in there as well, picked up many a bronze medal over his time. And Owen Everard just on the inside there, interesting entrant in this one. He's been doing well on the roads lately, running over 4 miles, 5 miles, but certainly an athlete who you would expect has the most 1500 metre medals. So John Travers may be in the mix there as well, but certainly none of the athletes in this field have raced a national senior final over 800 metres, I would suspect. John Travers might have as a couple of years back, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a fascinating clash. John Travers is a 9-time national champion. That's indoors and outdoors across a range of distances.
Ludicrous.
Sean Tobin is just the one. He's 26, but he's very close to winning his second. And I imagine whenever Sean Tobin decides to hang him up, he'll have many more titles to his name. He's 26 years old now. His one title came in 2017 here over 1500 metres. This is his first track 10k. But you know what? That doesn't stop athletes a lot of times. Sifan Hassan had never run a 10,000 metres before lining up in Doha last year. And guess what? She beat the world.
She certainly did. And athletes here are very quiet. It's gone very quiet here.
Deathly silence. I feel embarrassed to talk here because we're distracting the athletes. But they're being called up to the line now. Athletes just jig-jogging. Sean Tobin. Toes behind the line. Lads trying to cheat in a 10k.
Yeah, plenty of distance to catch up. So massive field in this 32 in it. We won't go through the full list here. We already have.
Give everyone
we'll
one
give
mention.
We'll go through them again. Yeah, go on. Emmett Dunleavy, David Mansfield, Owen Everard, Sean Doyle, Daniel Stone, Declan Power, Colm Turner, Paul O'Donnell, Conor Duffy, Owen Totten, Conor McCauley, Paul Minogue, Sean Tobin, Kieran McKenna, Jerry Ford, Mick Clohessy, Hugh Armstrong, Eric Keogh, Tom Fitzpatrick, Evan Byrne, Brian Maher, Owen Taggart, Niall Corman, David Scanlon, John Travers, Thomas Sherlock, Stephen Conroy, Brian Lenihan, David McLean, Barry Donovan, Rory O'Connor, and Conan McConney. And now back to front, Conan McConney. No, I'm just kidding. Massive field, 32 of them here. And Owen Totten has already gone to the front in this one. The Newcastle and District AC man. We thought it might be a cagey first couple of laps, but when Mick Clohessy and Owen Totten are in the race, there's nothing cagey about it. They've gone straight to the front here. Owen Totten, Mick Clohessy just on his shoulder there with the sunglasses. He's gone into the front now. He was always going to make this a true run race, the marathoner. Travers then back in third. Back in fourth then behind that is Paul O'Donnell of DSD. Fifth is Sean Tobin. Second place in the final of the 1500 metres last week. Hugh Armstrong, the Ballina man, just coming up on his shoulder. Owen Everard back there in seventh. Keogh, Keane in there, or David McLean in there. Brian Maher in there, and Daniel Stone just on the back of that second group, the young athlete from Raheny Shamrock AC. Dunleavy back in that second group as well. So we'll see there's already a gap growing. Clohessy still in the lead in this one, Cathal.
Yeah, it's the ever-present death, taxes, and Mick Clohessy leading the national 10k at a good, solid tempo. The three certainties in life. And he is going to put the hurt on everyone here. You have to love Mick Clohessy's racing style. Granted, he doesn't have the gears of the men behind him. This is how he races best. A steady tempo. And in many years in the past, it's burnt everyone off. Last year, it was unable to burn off Stephen Scullion, who outkicked him towards the last few laps. But we'll see how many he can get through here. As you can see, it's already splintering that group. And there's, 10 athletes or so pulling away. And if you want to be winning a medal in this Irish senior men's 10,000 metres, you better be in that first group, because they are not going to come back. It's only going to speed up from here.
Certainly Kyle Clohessy, Travers, O'Donnell, Tobin, Armstrong, Totten. I think that's Rory O'Connor. No, sorry, that's Sean Doyle that's there in of one. Well, it's not, in fact. I'm lying to you hugely. That is a North Cork AC athlete whose number I don't have on the start list, so we'll figure out who that is back in 5th place. With Owen Totten just behind him, then Eric Keogh, then Everard. Then it looks like McGlynn, Duffy, Marr. Back to Kieran McKenna there, the marathoner. And then back to Rory O'Connor and Daniel Stone. So we'll get an idea who that is there in 6th place when they come around again. We don't have a 120 in the field. I may have read it wrong. I am known for my horrific errors. Clohessy still leading us now. There's make no error about that. Make no mistake. Clohessy at the front. 2nd place Travers. 3rd O'Donnell, who ran so well over 5k last week. And then Hugh Armstrong just there in 4th. Tobin, the unknown quantity really in this field. He's been ripping it up in training there recently. I don't think anyone has been training as well as Tobin on this island over the last 3-4 months. Tobin is absolutely flying it, and you could see that over 1500 last week. But this is a different distance here, a distance he's never experienced before on the track. And we'll see how he goes here, the Clonmel AC man, 2nd in the National Senior Cross Country the last 2 years. The 2 guys who beat him, Liam Brady and apologies, Brian
Kevin
Fay.
Dooney.
Kevin Dooney, yes, absolutely. I was going to get to that, but Brian Fay beat him this year today over 10k. Fay was 2nd.
I'm confusing myself now.
I'm confused as well. It's all melding into one. We could be hardly
yes,
wrong.
I think you're right. I do believe Fay was indeed 2nd, I think.
So Tobin, 2nd and 3rd, we reckon, in the last 2 national cross countries, and none of the athletes who are in front of him are in this field. But one of the athletes who was behind him is now in front. The first will be the last should be the first, and Clohessy is in the first at the moment. Travers in 2nd, O'Donnell in 3rd, and Hugh Armstrong, the tall athlete from Ballina, in 4th place.
And just caught in the middle ground there, just towards the right of the shot. He's probably just out of the shot there. If we pan back a little, leading that 2nd group is Brian Maher. There he is into shot in that yellow and black, the black and amber of Kilkenny City Harriers. The men's national over 40s 10k record is 30:36. Brian Maher is now chugging along there. He's going to be going around a 30-minute pace. He's certainly capable of that. He's been in great form. And Brian Maher, the teak tough farmer from Kilkenny, will have his eyes on that over 40s record. And he's leading that 2nd lap. Tough as always, Brian Maher. But as we pan up, there's Mick Clohessy churning it out front. As always, John Travers poised. It's a very interesting situation again here in terms of tactics today, because last week we had a headwind up the home straight and a tailwind down the back straight. It's the opposite here. They're running into the teeth of the wind right now. It's going to be a strong headwind behind them up the home straight. Will that perhaps play into the mind of John Travers and Sean Tobin when they're thinking about making their moves? And crucially, I guess, who moves first?
Yeah, it's going to be a game of chicken here between those 2 athletes. They're so close in their seasonal bests here. Travers is obviously ranked quicker as a personal best, but this season, last week, Travers led and ran 13:57. Just got caught out in the last 200 metres by Darren McElhenney, convincing winner in the end. But 13:57 he ran on his own. Tobin 13:53, and graded me a couple of weeks back, but was disappointed with the run. Clohessy only ran 14:35 that night, but he'll be better over this 10k distance. And to excuse myself, that is Rory O'Connor now, who's back in 6th, 7th place in the Vesta of North Cork. He's down as a different number on our programme here, but Rory O'Connor there, the North Cork athlete, well capable of being up with this high quality field here. Owen Totten just on his outside there, and just behind him Eric Keogh, one of the few athletes to have raced the 10k so far this season. He ran 29:20, so he's in very good shape there, the Kia Series race winner. And we go back into that 2nd group there. Brian Maher has now made his way up out of that that secondary group, and he's churning up the distance here, trying to catch on to the coattails of Conor Duffy. Kieran McKenna now leading that 2nd group, and you've got a good few athletes in that group there as well, and some notable ones, Kieran McKenna and Daniel Stone in that secondary group. Still in the lead though, Mick Clohessy, as always, leading out this 10k field. Travers in 2nd, Paul O'Donnell. Has been no major changes here, and we've actually had confusion here. We've got Tyg. I think that could be Tygo Callahan, I'm assuming, that's messaging Cathal Denny here, who is a Tok AC athlete, lives in Korea, I believe, South Korea as opposed to North Korea, and he's tweeting us in. And John Shine, another Corkman, is sending in the messages, and the 2 of them are giving us different information here as to who that athlete in North Cork athlete is in 7th place.
Yeah, thanks very much. All help, welcome and appreciated as we pan across the group here.
John Shine has now changed his answer of Rory Connor and has gone in with Sean Doyle after it has been announced that he was wrong. Thanks, John. You've it's like a fella answering the test as the teacher is coming around to take it up, and the answers have all been called out.
No invigilators here as we go through. This is 6 laps run now. Or sorry, there we're still some way shy of 3K. So 3K obviously is a big split to have. We'll be coming up on that in another lap's time, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be well under 9 minutes. So yeah, this is probably a 29:30 or so pace being laid down, but we'll give you that when they do pass 3K in at 300 metres time. It's 8:05 on the clock at the moment. But Mick Closey leading it out from John Travers. As we pan back, there's 11 athletes now in this leading group. 12. Brian Maher, well done to Brian Maher. He is tagged onto the back of this group, and that is huge because when you look back the track, there's a 70-metre gap back to the others, and they'll only be getting bigger, those gaps. And the fact Brian Maher has managed to tag onto this pack means he can draft in behind that line of athletes, maybe pick a few off as they start to fade. It's going to be huge for his performance, and it's probably worth putting in the hard couple of laps. But the 2 favourites for this race, Sean Tobin in the middle of the pack there in that green shorts, white singlet of Clonmel AC, and John Travers in the black shorts and the white and black singlet of Denor sitting in second, running very different races for now. Very hard to tell between these 2 athletes who is the quicker. Sean Tobin, lest we forget, has run 1:47 for 800 back in his college days down in old Mississippi, and he is better known as more of a distance man in recent years, like that 10th in Eurocross. He's a 47-minute performance on the roads over 10 miles. Was even thinking about moving to the marathon this year before the pandemic hit. I believe he had a space in Hamburg, but it's a really interesting clash of styles. John Travers, I suppose the shortest we'd really see him in action is over 1,500 metres, but he run up to the half marathon as well and 10 miles as well. But yet, while they're different, they're kind of the same. And they're very similarly matched in ability. John Travers, of course, has run 13:28. No differences in personal best. His 5-kilometre personal best is the most outstanding, probably, time of anyone in this field, really, that 13:28. Unless we forget Hugh Armstrong there. Could be a big dark horse there, the Providence graduate in 5th place at the moment, a 2:12 marathoner. Hugh Armstrong moved to the marathon late last year at a young age. He's only 25 now. He moved when he was 24. He ran 2:14:22 on his debut in Dublin. He's in that white singlet in 5th. And then a few months later in Seville, he came out and ran 2:12:26. Hugh Armstrong, his 10,000 metre best is 29:16. That dates back to 2016. He ran that in Stanford on that beautiful track in Palo Alto. Highly recommend visiting if you ever get the chance. Peyton Jordan Invitational is one of the great meetings on the circuit. Not a big crowd or anything, but it's always perfect conditions. And if you want to run a fast 5K or 10K, Stanford is one of the great places to do it. Pre-pandemic, of course.
Yeah, it's going to be harder to get across there at the moment, Cathal, but Brian Maher, the man from Kilkenny at the back of that group, made it across from that secondary group, which we're not getting on screen, so I'll give you an idea who's in it. That is Rory O'Connor in 3rd place, and North Belfast Harriers Conan McConaughey is leading that secondary group, though. Daniel Stone, the junior, trying to break 31 minutes, is in 2nd place in that group there. We'll just see them on screen. Running quite comfortably at the moment. Conaghy, Stone, O'Connor, and back to McKenna there as well in 5th place. And I'm going to catch the 4th place athlete in that one.
Yeah, it's cooling down here in Morton Stadium, but the wind is as strong as ever, and you wouldn't know it with the silence in here, but this is a big race about to play out. It's a kind of an eerie atmosphere. It's hard to get used to. Just talking to Jay Benson there, he said that was the hardest thing about that triple jump. It didn't feel like a championship because there was no one over there. As he said, you saw him with the pink hat or the white hat, and he had his pink overtops. He is a showman, as a self-titled showman, and he does love the show and the adrenaline, but he said it's hard to get yourself up for this with no spectators, with no coaches. But these athletes just have to remind themselves this counts every bit as any other year counts in the national championships. And that medal will look just the same on their mental pieces if they chuck it there this evening. Sean Tobin just moving up a little as we round an athlete who's being lapped. But yeah, no real change up front.
No, Clohessy, Travers, O'Donnell, Totten still in there as well. Armstrong, and then Tobin, and all the way back then to Sean Doyle there, who's in about 7th place, receiving a lot of love on the social media here. I think his father formed North Cork AC, and his aunt also won the Cork Marathon back in the day, so plenty of pedigree there in the Doyle family. Kyo just behind him, and then Everard, a man who's plenty of talent in his family as well. His sister Ciara competed in the Rio Olympics. He's just back there in 8th place. And then back to Colm Turner, back there in 10th. And Mar just on the back, holding on, trying to hold on to the back of that front group.
Yeah, they're churning around here. They're going to have 14 laps to run here. And they're moving at quite a steady pace. Brian Maher, as you can see there, is just hanging on for dear life at the back. Those 4 or 5 meters open, and then they close up again. He just has to hang on. It's worth so much if you can draft on athletes like this, and just mentally even. You have such an energy save, and your emotional energy even, when you're not hitting that wind every time. You can almost switch off mentally. I remember talking to Bernard Legat a couple of years ago, interviewing him when he ran his New York Marathon debut, and he was talking to Shalane Flanagan, obviously a veteran of the New York Marathon and many marathons, and her advice to Legat was try to not use your brain, to stop thinking through the first half of the race, and if you can just sit in an athlete's slipstream and just draft for that first half of any race really, and just switch off your brain, you can save your emotional, your psychological energy for the second when the physical pain does become quite overwhelming.
Yeah, so we're going well here. Clohessy still leading this one. Travers in second, O'Donnell third, back to Tobin, the danger man in fourth, and then Totten and Armstrong then in fifth. Doyle, Kyo, Everard, McGlynn, Turner. And I think that is a Clonif Harrier athlete there. Carl, just to clarify that one. Don't know if I'll just get a hold of that. And then Brian Maher's going around him. I don't know if that he's been lapped here. We're trying to hold on to exactly who's in this one. I think he was being lapped. So that is Maher in the final athlete in that group. So still a huge group of athletes here as we come up here now with 13 laps to go. So I suspect we're coming up to the 5K mark here, Carl.
Yeah, it's 200 meters to 5K, and they're going to be there in and around 15 flat, I would say. They passed through there in about 14:24. So it's going to be maybe a few ticks under 15 at 5K. So we're on for that sub 30-minute pace. As we said, Death, Taxes, and Mick Clohessy running at 30-minute pace in the Irish National 10K. On a typical year, he would probably be out on his own now, maybe 1 or 2 athletes with him. This is not a typical year. Many of the athletes who would otherwise be running on the road at this time of year, they've picked this out because of the lack of road races, and they've given it everything to run well here today. It's the strongest 10K I can remember in many years. They passed 5K now, and the time exactly 15 minutes. Who am I kidding? It wasn't electronic, so, this is a wild guess. Other athletes coming up, that whole first group went through in about 15 minutes, 15:01, and they'll only pick it up from here. But the key question we're all wondering right now is, John Travers, when is he going to move? When is Sean Tobin going to move? Because look at John Travers there moving up on the outside. He's so comfortable at this pace. He's almost holding himself back. He almost has the harness on him like the horse's reins, pulling himself back. He wants his head in horse racing terms. He wants to open up that stride and kick on. But Sean Tobin, look at him just moving up there into fourth, into third. He recognises that danger. That smart running out of Sean Tobin. Anyone who's come through the NCAA circuit, whether you're up the front or right at the back, you develop a very smart racing brain. And we're seeing that there in Sean Tobin. He recognised that John Travers was just kind of eager at the front, ready to push on the pace, ready to push past Mick Clohessy. And Sean Tobin recognised he is the danger man here today. He's probably the only man in this field who can beat Sean Tobin in his current shape. And you don't want to make any tactical errors, and Sean Tobin is not willing to give John Travers an inch as Travers hits the front with 11.5 laps to run. And is it over and out from Mick Clohessy? He'll give it everything. He'll stick in there. He's an excellent athlete, Mick Clohessy, a 2:13 marathon runner, and he is so courageous. He will empty himself during every race to get the highest possible position he can. But these days he is a marathon specialist in the true sense of the word. This will still, much like Brendan Boyce dropping down to 10K earlier, this will feel like a sprint to Mick Clohessy. But he's won so many medals, and it would delight Mick Clohessy if he could get another one here today, even if it isn't gold, as we see John Travers with 11 laps to run. And now running, I think we're seeing a repeat of the 5K last week. Obviously, John Travers took the lead from the gun. Darragh McElhaney waited and he waited and he waited, and he blew him away with 200 to go. Is Sean Tobin going to wait here today?
Yeah, and Tobin front ran that 1500, so we have men who know how to lead in this 10k, and most people run a 10k, in fairness, are athletes who are going to run from the front and run hard. And Travers is now putting that pressure on the rest of the field. O'Donnell, who we haven't spoken about much, he ran a smashing time over 5k recently in the graded meet. Paul O'Donnell, the under 23 athlete, he ran 14:16, so he won't be that far away in this one either. But the class of the field, really, Travers leading at the moment. Third then is Tobin. Fourth place, Hugh Armstrong. Fifth, Clohessy. Sixth is Sean Daly. And then we go back then to Keogh and Totten as Keogh comes flying around the bend there and getting in front of the back markers. Barry O'Donovan there from Veale AC, Totten, Everard, McGlynn, and then Duffy, who I incorrectly called out as Turner there earlier on. Duffy, the national 5k champion about 2 years back. McGlynn, the young athlete, getting up there on coattails of Everard. Back to Maher then, and then as I can tell you, Daniel Stone, by the way, the junior athlete trying to run that World Junior standard, if there was going to be a World Juniors, of 31 minutes, is bang on pace.
And Brian Maher, I can tell you, the field passed 6k, it is, in just about 17:55. Brian Maher passed 6k in 18:10. As I mentioned, that over 40 record is 30:36. So if he can keep reeling off those 3-minute kilometres or close to Brian Maher, maybe on his way back in about 12th place now to the fastest ever 10k by an Irish over 40. But unfortunately, it's a cutthroat business, so we're going to have to concentrate on the race up front, and that is the fascinating tactical battle that's about to play out. John Travers hasn't pushed the pace along. It's an interesting tactic. He is at the front, but relative to his own ability, he's not really done anything with it now. He's just taken the lead, almost more of a positional move to keep the pace honest. There's been no change of pace, and really this is certainly not going to hurt Sean Tobin or many of the athletes in behind, and Owen Everett, I'm sure, as back there in 8th, 9th place in that black and amber singlet of Kilkenny City Harriers will be going. I hope this continues to go at this pace, because every lap that goes by, Owen Everett will be getting more and more confident that with his 800 metre, 1500 metre speed, he can get among the medals. But I would suspect strongly, Ronan, that they're not going to let this come down to a kick. We're going to see something big and something very, very fast move, I'd say, with about 4 or 5 or 6 laps to go.
Certainly, and if we refer to Joe Warren as the wily old fox in the 1500 metres, then Owen Everard is surely the man who taught Joe Warren how to be a wily old fox. Owen Everard will always put himself in the right position in pretty much any race, just whether he has the ability to stay with these guys over 10k in a distance he's not used to. But certainly, if he has the legs, he'll be in the right position. Clohessy, though, has gone back to the front, position number 1, and Travers, who'd led for a couple of laps there, and let Clohessy come back up to them after that little bit of a move there to see how the field was doing. O'Donnell, as he has been pretty much throughout the entire race, ever present in 2nd place, and a group then of Tobin, Travers, Keogh and Armstrong there in 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in that group. And Conor Duffy, don't discount him either. He'd have smashing finish in that 5k a couple of years back, and he's at the back of that group, but he's done very little so far in this race.
Yeah, and he's definitely hurting, and you can see the kind of face swaying from side to side. He sometimes loses 3 or 4 metres, does Conor Duffy, but he always, much like Brian Maher earlier, he gets back on it crucially, and with each lap that goes by, he'll be getting more and more comfortable, or more and more confident that he can pick some of these lads off. But again, if you're not up towards the front right now, you should be getting worried, I would say, because as we see what I would consider the 3 favourites maybe for this race, and 3rd, 4th and 5th there, Sean Tobin, Hugh Armstrong and John Travers. There will be a move, but when will it come? Eric Keogh, of course, as well, cannot be discounted. Following his Denor clubmate in that hat back in 6th place at the moment, he will also certainly be a threat. And indeed, Owen Everard, like we said, each passing lap, more and more confidence. Mick Clohessy is running that steady pace. Can he get rid of any more men? He'll need to if he's to get among the medals, but he's certainly putting up a spirited effort here. As always, you can depend on it from the Raheny man. He was in great start to the year from Clohessy as well earlier this year. He ran a PB at the Raheny 5 mile, 23:16. A measure of the class of that race, that he was well down the field in that, but again, he'll be desperate to get back in the marathons and try and improve that personal best of his, Mick Clohessy, which is 2:13.19, ran in Dublin last year. Finished 2nd in the national championships. But Mick Clohessy he's pushing the pace here, but to me, Ronan, I think Sean Tobin looks like he's getting ready for a move, or maybe I'm imagining that, but John Travers there just losing his position slightly, and again, you'd have to be a little careful here, because we went through there with 7 laps to run. And as we saw last week, when Sean Tobin moves fast. And if you let an athlete like him get 6, 7, 8 meters, that could be your race gone, because you don't get that added benefit of drafting on him into these winds. And you have to fight back and just go at your own pace and do it. It'll be equally as difficult for you as it is for him. And that's not what John Travers wants. So if I was John Travers, I'd perhaps just be swinging around a few of those athletes, and I would be tracking Sean Tobin. But John Travers, like he said, you don't win 9 national titles without knowing a little something about tactics. And he will have a plan here, and he'll be trying to execute it. And we're coming down to the business end. Sean Tobin and John Travers will both be very, very comfortable at this pace. And you see we're getting a bit confused now with the athletes being lapped. For many athletes, good to see Emmett Dunleavy there, moving out in lanes, showing respect. He's running around lane 2 here and moves out well ahead of time as well, which is something really that athletes should be doing at this level. If you enter national championships, if you have athletes like an Olympian and Mick Clohessy and Sean Tobin and John Travers, fingers crossed they'll be Olympians as well next year. When you have athletes this calibre deciding in the dust up for national titles, and you're not good enough to keep within a lap, you should respect them by moving out of their way and do it early enough that you're not creating confusion. Some people only wait and then they see him coming up behind him and then they jump out all of a sudden, and it creates even more confusion. Fair play to Emmett Dunleavy there, who is of course also a coach nowadays as well as an athlete, and coached Dara McElhenney to that brilliant 5,000 metre title last weekend.
He certainly did. And an athlete we haven't really mentioned too often here, David McLean as well, is in about 6th place there. He made quite of a move of getting out of the position he was into and came around the outside. So he's an athlete that could feature there maybe for the bronze medal, you would suspect, in the final years. Is Tobin. He calls himself the Irish Hammer, and will he throw down the hammer here with 5 laps to go? There was rumours he'd go with 2k to go, and if you look at Travers, he looks like he's losing ground on this group, and it's Tobin, Armstrong and O'Donnell and Keogh, the top 4 at the moment. Glynn trying to take closer order, and then Clohessy and Travers.
Travers does not look good. All of a sudden he looks so easy, but this is perhaps a very off day for John Travers. He can have them, and it looks like he's having one of them now, and he has dropped out. There he goes, gone. John Travers has stepped off. He has run out into lane 4, and suddenly this race takes on a completely different meaning. John Travers, he hunches over, reminiscent of Steve Ovett at the 84 Olympics. He does not look good. I'm not sure if he has any injury, but John Travers, he went from looking at absolute ease there to looking just in considerable distress. Hopefully everything is okay with him. But when the pressure came on from Sean Tobin, there was an immediate splintering in the pack, and I guess whatever frailties John Travers was feeling, whatever niggles, came to the fore, and he opted out. But right now up ahead, as we said, 5 laps to run. The move from Sean Tobin, a decisive one, and only one man, Hugh Armstrong, is able to go with it right now. And Paul O'Donnell, as he's done so bravely, has thrown himself up there as well, and he is currently in the bronze medal position ahead of Eric Keogh.
Yeah, you see John Travers there, silver medal last week. You'd expect that he will come back stronger from this. Anyway, he's obviously had some issue today. He went with about 5k to go and didn't really even put much of the hammer down over those couple of laps, and then went back into the pack. So you'd expect that he will be unhappy with that, but hopefully he's alive and well. And
interestingly enough, I think Sean Tobin will not have been aware until he just ran past him on the track that John Travers was not behind him. And as you will have seen if you saw the 1500 metres last week, Sean Tobin, when he went, he did not look around him once. And again, that's something all coaches would advise athletes down through the age groups. Do not look around. Do not give the athletes behind you the hope that you're hurting out there. Just keep your eyes fixed straight up ahead and demoralise them. And that's what Sean Tobin did. So I'd be quite confident that when he heard those footsteps in behind him, he would have thought that was John Travers chasing him. And then suddenly he runs around the bend at 400 metres after making his move and says, "Oh, you're sitting on the track." So it is Hugh Armstrong right now giving the best chase. But really, I don't think anyone can live with Sean Tobin. I think Travers was the only man in this field, that 13:28 5k last year, who had the ability to truly stay with Sean Tobin over 10k. But right now it's the Tobin show, and he's only won 1 national title before. That was in 1500 metres. He was denied in such heartbreaking circumstances for him last week in that 1500s. But he is throwing it all out there right now, and he is well on his way, unless Hugh Armstrong can find something miraculous over these last 2.5 laps.
Absolutely, coming up towards a K to run now for Sean Tobin, and he's got 9k done, and he's got a K to go, and he's in the lead, and he's got about 40-50 metres back to Hugh Armstrong, and it'll be a tremendous national title here for Sean Tobin. He said only his 2nd national title for such a high quality athlete, and he's destroying this field here with that move with 2k to go. 1k left. Armstrong about 40-50 metres back. The man from Ballinan, a real battle on here for 3rd place. You got Eric Keogh, Paul O'Donnell and David McGlynn there. 3 athletes in step with each other at the moment. third, fourth, and fifth, and then sixth all the way back to that early leader, Mick Clohessy. But it really is the Tobin show here at the front. He's been training so well with the Dublin Track Club under the guidance of Phelim Kelly, and he is destroying this field here. He's got 2 laps left to run. He's ran 1:47 for 800. I don't think he's going to run that over this last 800, but it's going to be pretty quick, and it's something that Hugh Armstrong is unlikely to be able to live with. And Eric Keogh has gapped Paul O'Donnell and David McGlynn here, and he looks like he could try and run away here for third place, that bronze medal, and maybe even catch up and get Hugh Armstrong there in second. But Tobin, absolutely a class apart.
He certainly is. He's got a good 30 metres, I would say, right now over Hugh Armstrong, who's running strongly in second. And out of the pack in third, Eric Keogh has left behind David McGlynn and Paul O'Donnell. They look to be locked together in fourth and fifth. But the move from Eric Keogh, he ran a very patient race so far, and he is coming out of that, I suppose, chasing pack to the pack that was chasing Hugh Armstrong up into third, and he is hunting down Hugh Armstrong. He's probably only about 10 metres behind Hugh Armstrong now in that white singlet with the cap, and he should have a big kick. He ran 29:21 here recently, a few weeks ago, in a graded meeting over 10k. But Sean Tobin, no doubt about it, such heartbreak for the 26-year-old Clonmel man last week to come home by 0.02 of a second after running one of the bravest races we've ever seen at Nationals over that 1500. He made the move at the right time. He ran the perfect race with class and courage, and he takes the bell with 28:29 on the clock. It's going to be probably in and around the 29:30 mark. Very respectable running in these conditions. Sean Tobin is an athlete who will go much quicker than this down the line. He is an athlete full of class. He is now about 40 metres and drawing away from Hugh Armstrong. Eric Keogh is going after him, 10 metres behind him in third, and that's another 30 metres back to Paul O'Donnell in fourth, and David McGlynn locked with him in fifth. But as we hit the back straight, this is where it all went down last week, and Sean Tobin had a man on his slipstream who was Paul Robinson, who came past him with an epic stretch. This is going to be a glory run for Sean Tobin on his way to his second national title run.
Yeah, the field was together with 2k to go, but like a bowling ball through a lot of skittles, Sean Tobin has blown this field apart, and he is 50 metres to the good on Hugh Armstrong. But there's some serious battle on here between Eric Keogh and Hugh Armstrong. Eric Keogh is finishing incredibly strongly, and alarmingly for Sean Tobin, he's absolutely flying it here, but he expects Sean Tobin to have something left for the finish here. But it is Tobin followed by Keogh, but Keogh is gaining ground with every single metre, but Tobin looks like he's going to have enough. Keogh will have run too late for this one. Armstrong in third, but it is going to be Tobin to win this national title in 29:35. Just behind him, Eric Keogh of the North Harriers. Then Hugh Armstrong, third place from Ballan. A serious battle on for fourth here. It is Paul O'Donnell and David McGlynn for fourth and fifth. And we're seeing all the athletes now coming in over the line. Mick Clohessy coming up for sixth place. Going to be a serious finish here for the Raheny man. Just hoping to clock under 30 minutes, and he does. 29:59. And we're seeing athletes trying to run personal best here throughout the field. A lap to go here for Daniel Stone. Looks like he's going to be just outside that junior standard. 30:10 on the clock. Duffy then up for seventh place. 30:12. Excellent performance from Duffy.
I think this is worth a mention. Turning into the home straight right now, Brian Maher, the Irish over 40s 10,000 metre record is 30:36. There's 30:26 on the clock now. He's got 10 seconds to get to the line. Brian Maher, can he do it? I think it's going to be just inside. Brian Maher gets that Irish over 40s record, 30:34. He blesses himself, salutes the heavens. A performance out of the heavens from Brian Maher. He's the fastest ever Irish over 40 10,000 metre runner. A smile as wide as whatever river flows through Kilkenny.
The Sure.
Sure. One of them. Anyway, Brian Maher drops to his knees. He's delighted with that. Well done to him as we see all the other athletes. Colin Turner coming up to the line there. I think he's got a lap to run. One more to go. 31 minutes on the clock. He'll be in and around the 32 mark. All these athletes here emptying themselves. Fair play to all of them. And it would have been an intriguing last lap there if Eric Keogh moved a little sooner. He finished with such a flourish that he was certainly coming at Sean Tobin over the end, but you cannot deny Sean Tobin. He won it in domineering fashion.
Certainly, and just see Daniel Stone coming up to the line here as well, the junior athlete, just outside that world junior standard, running 31:24. So a good effort from him in his first 10k. But absolutely, John Travers, if he'd been in that, or Eric Keogh, if he'd been a bit further up, a bit closer, played a bit closer order with 600-700 metres left to run, he was absolutely flying up that home straight, and you were almost alarmed for Sean Tobin that 2 weeks in a row he'd be dipped on the line and beaten into second place. Eric Yo, who ran the fastest 10k time in the country this year, the Dunor Harriers man. Wasn't a Dunor Harriers man. We expected to be chasing Sean Tobin in the home straight, but a silver medal for him. Third place, Hugh Armstrong as well, who'd gone with that move of Sean Tobin and held on then for third from that fast finishing Eric Yo.
Emmett Dunleavy crossed the line 32.10. Cullum Turner just up behind him, 32.15 for him. Tomas Fitzpatrick, he'll be in around a 32.23 or so. All these lads, this will mean a lot to all these lads. It's funny how very, very good athletes can be made to look like stragglers in the presence of truly international class runners like Sean Tobin. But these lads would be local legends down around the road race circuit on places all around the country, and people would be looking to them with absolute astonishment. And yet a 32-minute 10k up against these lads can suddenly be made to look pedestrian, which it's very much not.
Absolutely. A lot of these athletes would be very classy athletes, and athletes that have ran, even the likes of Mick Claus. He was a Rio Olympian there, and he did break 30 minutes, and yet with that 2k to go move, Sean Tobin destroyed that field. It just shows the level of talent on display here at the National Championships. Even the likes of, I see Tom Fitz, who said Emmett Dunleavy, athletes that have won many a 5k around the country and 10ks and 4-mile road races, and getting torn apart here over 6 miles by the Irish Hammer, Sean Tobin. Great last 2 kilometres. We didn't get a clock in the last 2 kilometres, but I suspect quite fast.
Yes, and a strong old wins, and I suppose there's such an emotional come down as well. Speaking to some athletes, they do talk about that, as well as not just the physical effort of what it takes out of them. Any sort of championship, even for an international level athlete, an Irish championship, a lot of emotion comes with it, especially a big cliffhanger of a race like we saw in last weekend's 1500 metres. There is an emotional come down off that as well. It can leave you carrying a bit of fatigue, psychological as much as physical. So fair play to them for coming back out. Great to see them supporting the national championships. It's a weird national championships, but it is a national championships, and for the 148th straight year we are here. Well, it wasn't always in Century, but it is this year. And fair play to all the officials and all the athletes who've made this possible. As we round out the field here, it's our final finisher up to the line. We'll stay on the stream for a moment. That is our final piece of action for today, but we will have a medal ceremony very soon, so we'll bring you that, because it's going to be an emotional moment for Sean Tobin. A national title 3 years on from his first one.
Certainly, I think it was either, like, we have got a full start list here, we've all the entries down, but I think that could have been either Paul Minogue or David Mansfield. I expect it was David Mansfield at Clonmel AC. He just ran about 34 minutes for 10k, and yet he was straggling in there. He was the last man to come in, and the 34-minute 10k is very good running, extremely good running on the roads of Ireland, and as I said,
sub 5:30 a mile.
I would think so, in around that, yeah. But what incredible collection of athletes here over 10k here. We'll get those results for you as soon as we can, and clarify any other results from throughout today. But we'll get those 10k results when we get them. So, was it all you hoped it would be, Cathal?
No, it wasn't. Let's be honest. It was a great day's action, but the injury to John Travers deprived us of what would have been a great battle, and it's such a pity for John Travers. He's one of the most likeable guys you'll ever find, one of the most honest, hard-working athletes, and it's always awful to see what you thought would turn into a great head-to-head just be slightly sullied, I suppose, by an injury or an off-colour performance, perhaps, whatever it was from John Travers. He didn't look himself there, as he did pull up when the hammer was dropped by the Irish Hammer, but you can take absolutely nothing away from Sean Tobin, because, like I said, that gold medal will look just the same, and it was so hard earned. Really, we should have had 2 gold medals for that men's 1500 last week, but Sean Tobin will be leaving Century with 1 silver and now the glistening gold.
He certainly will, and what a performance it was. You'd be hard pressed to make an argument that Sean Tobin wouldn't have won that, even with Travers in the race.
Certainly,
with that final 2 kilometres.
It was an incredible, last 2k. It was, and to be honest, he may have looked to be tightening up or whatever down that last 100, but the race was long put to bed, and he was never actually under threat, I suppose, from Eric Keogh. And I'm sure many people would have said with 300 to go in last week's 1500, Sean Tobin is over and out here. There's nothing left in the locker. But when a man like Paul Robinson, 145, 800, 335, 1500 ranges up on side, Sean Tobin has access to a different level of speed, and indeed the locker of courage runs deep for Sean Tobin.
We just had a text in there as well to say Barry Donovan may have ran an extra lap there, so he is the national 10,000 and 400 metre champion here at the National Championships. I don't know if we have a medal for him, but certainly a winner in the eyes of the Cork Track Club and Veale AC. But as
Cool down.
Cool down, yeah, exactly. Yeah, good to see him getting the workout on the track. Lots of athletes would be enjoying that. A lot of athletes who we'd expected to be in the play in that one unfortunately ran out of it a little bit. Even like the likes of Owen Everard, you could see that last 2K really put paid to any chances of a bronze medal there for him. But good finish there as well from McGlynn and O'Donnell in 4th and 5th. We'll hopefully get those results for you very shortly as they come in.
Yeah, we don't yet have the results. They can sometimes take it's quite a big field, and someone in that official thing has to look at all the hip numbers and all that and just check and make sure that whoever someone is are who they say they are.
You are who you say you are.
And look at that photo finish, and I mean, it's not really relevant over the 10K, but they do have to align the time someone broke the beam across the finish line with what actually shows up, and find where their torso crossed the line, their shoulder or their chest or whatever part of it was. So that'll be what the delay is. They have to do that for how many? 30 athletes
32
or so?
32 athletes current to our field here, yeah. Was Eric Keogh thinking back to that 1500 metres where Tobin came in the last 50 metres again when Robinson went by him, and Eric Keogh might have been going, the only time I'm going to pass him is with a metre to go, so he has no time to react. Was that his plan?
Absolutely, perhaps.
Could have been.
I'm going to jump into the mind of Eric Keogh and assume it is, but yeah, brilliant run from Eric Keogh. Wouldn't it be great, like having run what he ran in the graded meeting and then run what he did today, chasing down Sean Tobin, a man who was 10th in Europe over 10K at the cross country a couple of years ago in Tilburg. Exciting future ahead for Eric Keogh. What would he run if you could put him in a Stanford, if you could put him in a night of the 10K over there in Hampstead Heath or somewhere like that? Eric Keogh would be smashing, I think, the 29-minute barrier in a paced race in good conditions. So exciting times for the Norman. Well done to him, a brilliant silver. But let's be honest, it's all about the gold man today, Sean Tobin, King of Ireland over 10,000 metres.
Are we going to get you down there to interview him before this medal ceremony?
I am. I'll go run down, and you can bring it home for everyone else here. And I'll scurry over to do a bit of writing, and you can read about that in the Sunday Independent.
And whoever will take your copy.
Anyone who will take my copy and paste effort. Thank you very much for everyone for joining. We'll let Ronan take you through the medal ceremony, and I'll, for one, will catch you back here tomorrow for another bonanza of finals on the final day of Irish Nationals.
Thanks, Cathal. Irish Sports Journalist of the Year, as many of you know. He's going into Sean Tobin. You get that on the Athletics Ireland Twitter feed very shortly. And all the champions from today, all their interviews will be up on Athletics Ireland Twitter. So I said hopefully we'll get the full results here and a medal ceremony. They seem to be letting them run off here without the medals at the moment. Tobin, I can conclude, has had a banana as well post-race. If anyone wants to know, loves the potassium. You can see him there with Cathal Denny. Kyle is modelling a brown jacket today. We'll bring you through a couple of results here, mainly to fill the time so I don't say anything inappropriate and we get thrown off. 10K champion, there, as you can see, there is Cathal Denny on the right and Sean Tobin on the left. The champ, and Sean Tobin, some might say. Callum Wilkinson won the race walk here, 39.52. David Kenny, the under 23 title goes to him, but silver medal overall for Farron 4 Main Valley of 41.38, and a PB for Brendan Boyce, 42.19. Sorry, that's not a PB, I've misread that. He's got info underneath it and it says pit, so he ended up with a little pit time there, a little pit stop in the Pen of Despair for third place. Jerome Caprice then in fourth, and Colin Walsh, Mullingar Hires fifth, Orion Roberts sixth. Matthew Glennon and Joe Mooney were DQ'd, disqualified. Then we have the women's 5K race walk. Kate Veale, 24.51.49. Ruth Monaghan with that wonderful last couple of laps there. Good finish from Ruth Monaghan to beat Maria Flynn of Nace AC, 25.42 to 26.06. Maggie Helen O'Connor from St. Joseph's in fourth, and Sinead McConnell then in fifth. Eva Della Hunt in sixth, and Maeve O'Connor then in seventh. So we could bring you this chair movement commentary here, but we won't. Chairs have been taken in
Not sure why they haven't gone straight to the medal ceremony here. We now have 2 medalists, Sean Tobin and Hugh Armstrong. So we're waiting on Eric Keogh. And then we'll have our medal winners. Men's triple jump and men's discus as well to come. In the second session, we had Jai Benson with that wonderful last round jump. 14.53 he jumped to win the national title here for Lagan Valley AC. Michael Adajiki in second place there from Dundalgan, missing out by 13 centimetres in the end after leading for the entire competition. Probably the best series of jumps. He jumped 14.36, 14.13, 14.40, 14 metres, 14.40 again, and 14.32, which is an impressive series. And Mark Burton then in third with 14.29. Rounding out the minor places there, Conal Mahon, Quaylan O'Callaghan, Joshua Knox, and Michael Toney of Listuhel, who we'd incorrectly labelled as a West Muskerry man for most of the competition. Men's discus, the 2K discus, derived, I believe, from the Greeks. Unlike some of the other competitions we have, shot put, a cannonball, and the 30 or the 56 is an agricultural weight. And we'll see some of those throws again. In fact, while we wait for this medal ceremony. So this is Michael Healy of Veale AC throwing the disc, 2 kg disc. So imagine taping 2 bags of sugar together and seeing how far you can throw them. You'd probably only make about 10 metres, but Michael Healy threw it 44 metres for bronze. Pádraig Hoare was 4th, 40.96. James O'Neill 5th in 40.30, and this was second place Owen Sheridan from Clonmel Harriers, 52.52, with a good series there as well. 3 throws over 50 in the competition. The Clonmel Harrier AC man, and this is throw of 52.22 for second place. Lofts it out there for second for the silver medal. Mark Tierney and Larry O'Grady were 6th and 7th in that 36.55 and 26.76. But first place is Colin Quirk. You can see him here almost like an out half, getting ready and visualizing, kissing the discus, massaging it, asking it to get out beyond the 50-metre mark again, begging it, go on, get out over the 55. He threw 55.24 in the second round, 55.45 in the fifth round, and 55.50 then in the final round. And this is his final round throw. Biggest throw today. You can see how quick he is there. Spins round and launches it out 55 metres, which is essentially ludicrous. There is the Irish hammer. He threw down the hammer with 2K to go. He's a national champion. Silver medal in the 1500 earlier this week. And now the gold. Eric Keogh chased gamely in that last 100 metres. Might have left himself with too much to do there in second place, but a wonderful silver medal for Eric Keogh. And third place then, the marathoner Hugh Armstrong from Ballina AC. So we're going to be finishing now very shortly. We'll just see this final medal ceremony here. Third, Armstrong. Second, Eric Keogh. And the winner, Sean Tobin. So we kept, as you said, very hard to tell who, all the back markers and people being lapped because it was such a fast pace. Third place is Hugh Armstrong from Ballina AC. Second place from Dunor Harriers was Eric Keogh with a fantastic finish over that last 400 metres. And the winner, second place last week in the 1500, comes back this week, wins the 10K. Sean Tobin, his first ever 10K on the track, smashes the field and wins. And we haven't got an official time on that one yet, but wins the 10K. Incredible performance from the Irish hammer, Sean Tobin, and what a way to finish it. The results will be up on live.athleticsIreland.ie later on today, and we will catch you tomorrow morning. Coverage starts at 11:30 on the live stream here, so click the links that are put up on the Twitter and Facebook. And thanks very much. We will see you at the Irish Live held National Senior Championships tomorrow.